Hello and welcome to Switzerland. The first final of the IFSC season 2017 is about to get underway and we are live in Meiringen. Sitting in the Hasletal Valley in the Bernese Oberland of Switzerland, Meiringen is home to around 5,000 people and roughly the same number of sport climbing routes. What it lacks in size, Meiringen makes up for with character and history, and it enjoys several claims to fame. Firstly, it is claimed it was where the world's first meringue was created, and secondly, the Reichenbach waterfall above the village also hosted the fictional fight to the death between Sherlock Holmes, star of the famous Arthur Conan Doyle novels, and his nemesis Professor Moriarty. Nowadays, the 90-metre high falls are one of the most popular tourist attractions in Switzerland and enjoy a stunning view across the village and its surrounding mountains. This is the IFSC's second visit here, and it is the perfect venue to kick off our biggest season yet. And I'm joined here on the mat by IFSC official photographer and chief editor of the circuit climbing.com, Eddie Falk. And Eddie, we had a really interesting semi-final, incredibly strong lineup, particularly in the women's side of the draw.
Absolutely. I think what we saw is the start of the young breed coming through, but we definitely still saw some great performances by the more experienced. Looked fantastic. She's straight into finals, so that'll be great. Kata Sarwine representing the older climbers, and the other side Stasha Gio representing the younger climbers.
And in the men's draw, some really interesting athletes as well. You mentioned Ray before the semi-final began. He delivered, qualified easily.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, Ray Sugimoto is a fantastic climber. He'd sort of fallen out after he hurt his shoulder. There was a gap. We weren't sure if he was going to come back as strong as before. He used to be the Japanese team captain. He had to qualify back into the team. Now he's back in the team and is in finals of his first World Cup back, so that's pretty awesome.
Okay, thank you very much, Eddie. We're going to let the competition get underway, but before we do, we thought we'd give you a quick insight in what is involved in organising something like the Meiringen World Cup.
The biggest pleasure is to have all the great athletes from all over the world here in Meiringen, to see them compete. That's fantastic. And that's a great motivation also.
The favorite part of organizing the World Cup is the final. If the whole building is full and it's really a good mood in there, then it is great for us, and you see what you're working for.
We have more than 100 volunteers, close to 200 athletes here, 35 nations present. We also have a couple of reigning world champions here.
The benefits in the valley, of course, is it brings a few people in here. It's 5,000 visitors around, and it takes the name Meiringen Hasletal, it takes it out in the world. It's a good marketing, I think, for us.
Of course, there are a couple of challenges. It's always challenging to get the finances ready for such a big event. We're spending close to 500,000 Swiss francs on this World Cup event, and for a village with only like 5,000 inhabitants, this is quite a big amount. We are hoping for Petra to win the women's competition, or to at least make it on the podium. We would also like to see some of the young athletes be successful here in Meiringen and the Hasletal.
To the commentary box and Mike Langley.
Back here with Martin Schoeck. Martin, we're just in the middle of the presentation now. We're going to cut to that. I think we're set for an awesome finals. Obviously, you were one of the route setters here. We're going to come to you. We're going to ask you plenty of questions throughout the presentation. I just want to say a huge thanks to everybody for watching. The observation is just about to start now, so we're going to go back down to Charlie at the wall, who has some of your... Talk you through the boulders.
Yeah, I've got Manu alongside me. Manu, we're just underneath men's one, Alexei Rubtsev, just checking out the first hole. Just talk us through this boulder. It's extremely steep, physical.
Yeah, it is. You begin with a big Pimmel. I don't, yeah.
I actually don't know how to describe that hold.
And then you have to go feet first. Then you do a toe hook. Then you go on the pinch. You match the pinch. You make a drop knee on the first hold. And then you go to the crater, to this
The blue hold.
pocket, giant pocket. Then you match it, and then you do a small jump on this blue one. And then it's pretty much over, I think. Just cross over to this small crimp. It's not that small, but it's a kind of a slopey crimp, and then you go with a small jump to the last hold, last volume.
And what do you think is the hardest move on men's one?
I think it's to hold the blue one, yeah.
And over on women's one, completely contrasting, starts off steep and into a slab. Just run us through that one briefly.
Yeah, it's similar to the problem we had in the qualis. I think it's pretty much the same in the beginning. You do a toe hook, right foot over the edge, then you cross over and do a small jump in this giant sloper, which is pretty good. Then you just have to turn your left foot on the big volume, and then you do a mantle, which is not very hard, but
Could stop a few climbers.
I don't know. Yeah, probably. It's not our prettiest one, I think, at the end.
Okay, we're now going to make the journey. I don't know if the route setters did this on purpose. They've got a sense of humour if they did. We're going to head over to the other side of the stage for boulders 2 in men's and women's event. Then we'll have a look at 3, which luckily is also on this side of the stage, and then we'll be back on the left for the 4th boulders in men and women's. So men's 2 is a slab, looks slightly like women's 2 in the semis, kind of move to the right. Just explain what's the key on this one?
I think the key is to stand up at the first on the first foothold. Take the blue thumb, which is in the middle of the slab, and put your left toe on the first volume. We changed it slightly because the first version was with a very, very bad thumb, but I just think it was too much for them. And then at the end, you can do it in different ways, I think.
Is that top hold, as good as it looks? It looks quite a good hold from down here.
It's a jug. It's a very good jug.
And over on the women's, steepest of the women's boulders.
Yeah, it's a physical one. It's not that hard to read, I think. It's just about holding these slopers and keep tension on the feet.
Okay, well, we've got 24 seconds left on observation, these second boulders. We did see every boulder topped in the semi-final, which is exactly what we want to see. Do you think we will see that again in the final? I know that's your goal.
Yeah, it's our goal for sure, yeah. I think we'll reach it, yeah. I hope. But it's always a difficult question, and it's always we always struggle with this question. But we try hard to make it work.
If you are interested, by the way, in our route setting team here in Meiringen, check out the IFSC Facebook page or the beginning of our semi-final broadcast earlier. We had an interview with Lauren Laporte, who's leading the route setting team here. So we're standing right underneath women's 3. So talk us through this. Looks like I'll let you talk through it. Is it a facing out start?
You can do it both ways. I don't really know which way is easier. I did it first frontal, and then I turned back to the audience, and then you just stand up on the last volume, and stop on the upper volume with both hands, and then you turn again to catch the blue one, which is pretty good.
And over on men's 3, again, another very steep part of the wall.
Yeah, this is the basic one, which is
For people that might be new to climbing, when you say a basic boulder, what do you mean? It's easy to read.
yes, I think it's very easy to read.
So
I would be surprised if they do a reading mistake.
So the key is not in figuring it out, it's being able to physically do it.
Exactly, yeah. It's just about pure power.
And which
But these kinds of problems are very hard for us because I think all these climbers, especially in the final, they are just extremely strong on that. And yeah, but we propose it and we'll see what happens.
and setting boulders like that, is it hard to judge exactly how strong the climbers are, especially when you haven't seen them in action for, well, in the case of the bouldering athletes, since August?
Yeah, that's true. The first competition is every time a big challenge, I think, for us.
Well, you've got it pretty right so far in the rounds we've had. We're going to head over now to boulders 4, back on the left of the wall. If I had my calorie counter on, I'd be cleaning up now. So the first one we come to is women's 4, the slab. This looks quite an interesting boulder. It's a long reach to the top. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, it's kind of a running jump. You can also just do it with with a pogo move. You start on the first volume with your feet, and you just do a big pogo to the last volume and catch the orange hold.
Can it be done statically?
Hmm?
Can it be done statically?
Maybe.
Never say never.
Women always surprise me, so I don't know. I don't think they will try it, but we
You
never
think
know.
it's more likely to be done dynamically?
Yeah, and for sure it's way easier to do it dynamically, I think.
And is there any key to that, the move to the top hold, and is the top hold good?
The top hold is not that good. You have to catch it exactly on the right position to hold it. But to step on the last foot is and to go to the top it's not so easy.
And over on men's 4, very complicated. This section of the wall, in every round, you've had lots of volumes, lots of hold. It's looked like a really complicated boulder. Is this one the toughest to read of the men's boulders?
No, it's not really hard to read. I think it's our red line because we kept it all the rounds before. Yeah, it's a jump. It's a jump where you have to jump on the giant foot and then go to the side pull and pull and cross over to this pocket, which is pretty good if you have the right timing.
When you say the pocket, you mean the bonus hold?
Yeah.
And the top hold, how's that?
Top hold is not that good. Yeah, pocket is not so good. You have to put your left foot into the lower pocket and make a heel hook probably, and then you go to the top hold. And it's a hard move, I think, the last one.
You heard it here first. Okay, up to you, Mike. We're going to get out of the way because I think the organisers are a bit upset about still being in the way of the crowd.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie. Just as we have a look at where the beautiful town of Meiringen is there, and what a beautiful day it has been. Obviously, it's such a packed audience here tonight, and from everyone to come outside from the amazing weather, the amazing mountains, and watch the finals here in Meiringen is really, really cool to have everybody amongst us. I can imagine the atmosphere tonight is going to be amazing, and I'm joined with a route setter, also Martin Schoek. Martin, thank you for joining us. I know you're a very busy man, and obviously there's a lot of pressure on the team tonight. How do you feel for the finals?
Actually, I don't feel pressure anymore. I was more excited, and I had more
like nerves.
Yes.
But now I guess
about the semi-final. But now I think
you're happy after seeing 2 previous rounds. You think you've got this one just about right. Obviously, for you guys at home who may not have seen something like this before, it's all down to the route setters to get the show right tonight, get the level perfect, so we can get a split and get 6 climbers down to an overall winner. It's a really, really tough job.
Of course, and the finals are watched by a lot of people, so it has to be a great show.
Yeah, absolutely, and I do hope you guys could get in touch with us. We would love to hear from you. Hashtag IFCWC, it would be great to hear from you, and you can see a sneaky peek there to the isolation zone. What do you think the athletes are thinking now? They're backstage, they're away from the crowd. This is the World Cup final. Some of them, will they be feeling very nervous or just calm and ready to put down some power? What do you think the athletes are thinking backstage?
For sure, they want to come out and show their best, and they are for sure focused on problems. They are for sure now discussing because they are just.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we're going to have a quick look at the athletes, see the start list. It's an incredibly strong field tonight. 3 Japanese men, 1 Japanese woman. As you can see here, the women then coming out first would be Kata Sarvain from Austria, second Petra Klinger, third Janja Garnbret, the long Slovenian, British number 1, currently overall in the World Cup bouldering scene. Shauna Coxsey comes out fourth, and then Stasha Geho had a brilliant qualification, came out fifth, and the only woman to get 4 tops in the qualification, Miho Nanaka, comes out leading the pack, and sometimes maybe it's not so easy coming out last, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. In the men's then, Keita Watabe in the men's will be out first, followed by another Japanese athlete, Kokoro Fuji, then Yone Kruder, who's going to be putting on fireworks for us tonight, no doubt. David Fierenberg behind him, and a great effort from David to make finals. Alexei Rupsov won here last year and is up in second, which he'll be out fifth, and Rei Sugimoto, after an incredible qualifying result and semi-final result, takes us out in sixth. And what's really interesting in the women's marching, I'm not sure if we've seen this many times before, but in semi-finals, the top 6 climbers, all the top 6 qualified for finals. I think that's quite rare in climbing, to see top 6 semis make the finals.
Yeah, it means that both runs, qualifiers and semis, was just well prepared, I think.
Okay, Charlie Bosco is down at the wall. Charlie, over to you.
Yeah, Mike, I was just listening in on your conversation there about how the athletes would be feeling. Some things never change. Nate Kruder, big grin on his face, came to say hello as he walked off the mat. So he's certainly relaxed. We saw him in the semi-final displaying a lot of emotion. He gets his game face on seemingly 1 second and takes it off the next. But I was also going to comment, it's interesting listening to Martin, the route setters have created a really good spread here. Both the men and the women have a slab, and both have steep boulders as well. So I think the classic route setter goal, if you like, to get the best climber winning, not just the strongest one, I think they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely, and the route setters have definitely done a great job throughout the weekend with everything going on. They've really stuck to their job and just done an absolutely awesome effort, and we are very, very close now to the first athletes coming out, which will be Katarina Sarvain and Keita Watabe. The local MC here can see the crowd is absolutely massive. The atmosphere in here is marching, it's so amazing, it's electric in here.
Yes, everybody's just waiting for the show to begin.
Yeah, and they're coming here for your show.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be the show of athletes.
Absolutely,
we are just preparing their playground.
That's a great way of looking at it, and I'm sure many climbers see their sport as a playground. And I can see just in the corner off screen, the first athletes are very ready. And I don't know about you guys at home. We'd love to hear from you, obviously, but I'm very nervous for this final here tonight. I'm super excited to see what goes down, and the lights are dimming, pretty much ready.
Jump in there, Mike. I'm actually down on the floor. I've moved back slightly from right in front of the wall. And we've got a massive crowd here in Meiringen. We had a big crowd for the semi-finals, but the hall packed. And I think, dare I say it, they are all waiting to see Petra Klingler, but a very warm welcome to our first 2 climbers.
Yeah, absolutely. And those first 2 climbers, the Japanese athlete Keita Watabe had a great qualifying round, and Katazawa, and also Keito qualified with 2 tops in 7, which was enough to get him through in 6th place, with the top qualifier Rei Sugimoto qualifying with 3 tops in 7. So, Martin, this is our first look now at a climber on the first 2 boulders. Here we are with Katazawa. Interesting start to the women's competition. like some technical toe hooks and some arete work with the right hand side?
Yeah, it's just getting to the position where you have to go to the jack in the roof.
Yep.
But all your body is coming out from the hold, so you have to stop on the left volume with your left hand or with your left foot.
And talking about interesting starts, the men's with Keita, the inverted start is a really nice trick from the root setters.
Yes.
The first hold, well, the highest hold, which would traditionally be the hand hold, is the foot hold. So Keita's obviously figured out the start. I mean, for these guys, it's quite obvious you have to start inverted. But he initially didn't move his toes up the arete to the high hold. Is that what the intended method was, to move the feet first?
Yes, of course. There is no other possibility.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Sometimes these climbers can pull something special out of the bag, but I know you guys have been working so hard, testing everything to the death to make sure it's perfect for tonight. And here we go. It's a great look at Katazawa in there, 29-year-old from Innsbruck. So a train journey away from where we are, and seasoned competitor for so many years and so strong, but is not finding the position to start there. And Martin, I wonder if you think that she might be nervous to start, Kata.
Yes, probably she's nervous a little bit. The foothold is not very good, but it's just enough to start the jump. And she slept already 2 times.
Yeah, so she's having a bit of a problem with that, and obviously it's 4 minutes only here tonight, and it's 2 minutes down already, so 2 minutes left for these guys to get these first boulders done. For you guys at home who may be new to a World Cup finals, these are the guys who qualified in 6th position, and we move through each group, male and female, 5th down to 1st, all trying the first boulders as a group, and then moving on to 2, 3 and 4 respectively as a group, and they have just 4 minutes to climb each boulder. Charlie, you're down at the wall. Can you just give us a little bit of a rundown of the scoring system for those guys at home who may be new to the system here?
Yeah, I appreciate that when you're new to climbing, the scoring system can seem very complicated. I might add that when you're not new to climbing, it can still seem quite complicated, but it's a 4-tiered system. The most important measurement is the furthest one on the left as you look at the score, and that is the number of tops achieved, the number of boulders that you got to the top of. The second most important measurement, the second tier, is the number of attempts that those tops took you. That's the second number in the row of 4 numbers that denotes the score. Next up is how many bonus holes you got, and if the competitors are still tied after them, they maybe deserve a draw, but they don't get one. It comes down to how many attempts it took to get those bonus holes. And we saw earlier on today attempts, even on bonuses, being absolutely crucial. So that 4-tiered scoring system is initially seems quite complicated, but very much necessary to split the competitors.
Yeah, thanks Charlie, a really great insight into the scoring there. So really it's about the number of tops first. And Marcin, how many tops can you predict tonight? I want to put you on the spot. Do you think it's going to be a show of lots of tops and comes down to attempts, or just a really hard finals?
It depends on which problem, but I think there will be some tops for sure.
Yeah.
And not on every problem there will be a lot.
Okay. So you think there's definitely some opportunities for a few tops tonight and a good show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the game these days. It's so difficult. Obviously your most important thing is to get the result to work. You know, the most important thing is the result, but you know there's like 1,000 people in here who want to see some crazy stuff as well, so it's so many things you have to factor in. But that is end of time for our first climber out. Keita Watabe from Japan and Katarina Zawa, and they walk off. Not much went down for those guys that time. I don't think there was even any bonuses secured there.
No. Looks like it's hard for them, but
yeah, a hard start, and you know, obviously it's the whole field of athletes here is so strong, but there is, you know, Miho coming out in the women's in the last, coming out last but qualified in first, was the only one to get 4 tops, and Katarina got 2 tops, so there is obviously a divide in the strength in field as well. And that's kind of why we run it how we do, I suppose. The inferior, the 6th person comes out, and the anticipation and the energy builds up, ready for the first person. But talking about energy, Petra Klinger, the local girl, the crowd here is on edge for Petra. Obviously, she is on the Swiss team, and she's also the world champion. What do you think for Petra tonight?
I think the crowd is going to help her for sure.
Ooh, I mean, that's a really cool move there to start in the women's problem. We saw a couple of moves similar in the previous rounds, this kind of dynamic move, releasing the toe hook and kicking out. It's a pretty cool move you guys have come up with there.
Yeah.
Joining us in the men's competition there on the top left of your screen, you can see Kokoro Fuji. Kokoro, just 24 years old, had some wins last year. He's really on form at the moment. First in Navai Mumbai, first in Vale, and 8th in Munich, 10th at Innsbruck, and also did a lead competition where he came 8th. So Kokoro Fuji really going to be pushing for a podium here tonight. Let's see how he gets on his first move. Great close-up angle there. Come on, Kokoro. Ooh. No one so far, Martin, has found that second toe hook. They're all just trying to get to the next hold and not making much progress yet.
Yeah, it looks like it's complicated for them.
Do you find you start to get nervous now that when you're seeing a couple of climbers missing the potential method?
If I'm nervous?
Yeah, because the climb...
Of course, I start to be nervous.
I don't know about you, Martin, but my fingers are so wet, I'm just like leaking, just waiting to see what's going to happen on these first boulders.
Mike, just to jump in there, you were talking about the reception Petra Klingler gets. The volume really increased in here when she got on the wall, but it's worth remembering that Petra has only just come out of a knee brace. If it wasn't this week, it might have been last week. I don't remember exactly when, but within the last week or two, because she damaged her knee in the ice climbing World Cup. So the fact she's in the final is absolutely incredible, but the crowd really ramp up as soon as she steps off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely, and for me, like, the atmosphere is really cool, and here we go with Kokoro Fuji, the first guy to make the bonus hold. It's obviously gets harder and harder.
He slept off the feet.
The bonus hold there is the one marked with the green tape. You can see bonuses is useful when it comes down to a tie later on, if that's needed. And just see Petra as well. She seems to really be enjoying herself in this move, but not quite landing the left foot.
Maybe they are already tired.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. I also think it is quite warm in here tonight as well. The conditions have potentially got worse from the qualifiers this morning. The sun's been out all day and it's quite warm, I would say.
Yeah.
Saw that cheese they're melting in the food stand here. There's, Swiss definitely know how to put on some catering at an event. Yeah, it's a really great atmosphere. Like I say, everyone's been really well looked after. So back on the action. Really want to see Petra do well here. Come on, Petra. Oh, she's getting so close, but she has just under a minute left, and obviously there is no plus time for her, which means once her 4 minutes is up, that is it. Her time is over. Kokoro Fuji as well cannot repeat his great go on the previous attempt, so Kokoro currently standing back. Around 40 seconds left, so this is going to be getting close to one of their last goes. Here we go then, another attempt from Petra. Come on, Petra. Oh man, she just looks like she needs to get a little bit closer to the wall, hit the green jug with a bit more of a bent arm.
It's better also to try to match in one time.
So Kokoro Fuji now is back where he was before on the bonus. Hopefully his foot won't slip this time, but he's looking good here. What a cool move, his feet are high. Come on, Kokoro. He's only got 10 seconds left, 7 seconds. Realistically, it's not going to be enough here. Kokoro Fuji, he's out of time for Petra, and Kokoro Fuji not meant to be. Well, we definitely know that those moves go, but the time was an issue. But Kokoro Fuji did come out in 5th. We still have 4 climbers ahead of him, so I don't know about you, Martin. I feel confident we might see a top on this first boulder. I think we may see a top on the first men's boulder.
Yes, I hope.
Here we go then. Pair of Slovenians out next. Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, just before we concentrate on Team Slovenia, we've got Janja and Janae. I've got Graham Alderson here, who was involved with the early development of the scoring system. And we were talking about it 5 minutes ago. Perfect timing, managed to snag Graham. Graham, what was the initial concept behind the scoring system?
The original concept was purely based on primacy of tops. The person who gets the most tops wins, because that's what climbing's all about, getting to the top. Luckily, we have more than one climb in a boulder competition, so in theory, with 5 boulders in the qualification, 5 tops wins. Of course, when you have 100 athletes, you're going to get ties. So everything else was purely based on systems to break the ties. So the first tie break is number of tops. The second tie break is number of bonus holds, or zone holds they're sometimes called, but really they are tie break holds. then of course the last tie-break system, the number of attempts to get the tie-break zone stroke bonus hold. So it's all about tie-break systems to break ties if you have the equal number of tops, but always the person with the most tops wins.
Because we do see scoring systems, and we have seen them in the past, where tops isn't quite the only measurement or the key measurement, and obviously that is the most important measurement of all.
Well, to me it is, and still within the IFSC, that's the thought that tops have primacy. I know there are other systems, and yeah, they work, and they will sometimes produce different winners. But this is the system we've got. We've used it for over 20 years now. If somebody can produce a better system that works consistently, fine. But we haven't seen that, in my opinion, yet.
There you go, Mike. The scoring system explained by one of the men involved in creating it.
Yep, thanks Charlie, thanks Graham. Back into the action then. Both Slovenias kind of in a very similar position to what we saw with Kokoro and Petra at the moment. Obviously Kokoro made his way kind of through the bonus and into that blue section there. But Janja's had some pretty spectacular falls on this section of wall throughout the weekend. She's really been taking a beating, and this move's proving no different. As we see Jerne, who escaped through to finals with a technical situation. Oh!
Yes, was close.
Yeah, she's getting really close now. She has just 1 minute 40 left to get it done. And she started to slow that down, that move there. The foot landed, the body paused, and then just everything went at the same time. But like you were saying, Marcin saying earlier, it's all about getting two hands at the same time as the foot.
It's just you have to think about matching, like you go left hand and try to match in one time. But
and we can have a look at the screen there. Jerne Kruder, 26 from Slovenia, has been around the scene for a very, very long time, and is a great man to watch. I really love to see some fireworks from Jerne slightly later on, and I really want to concentrate here on Janja, because she's been so close to this move. Come on, Janja, 1 minute left. Great shot there with both Slovenians in action. Jerne straight into the inverted start and onto these flat hold volumes. 50 seconds left for these guys. Come on, Janja, come on. Oh, I totally agree with you here, Marcin. I think if you don't get that second hand, you're going to have to be either seriously strong, or you got to get the two hands. Yeah. So 40 seconds left for these guys. The crowd knows what it means for these guys to get a top. We want to start seeing some tops here in Meiringen at the finals. Come on, Janja. Just releases that toe and fires across. And Jerne Kruder looks like he's calling it a day. Not really any progress there for Jerne. It wasn't meant to be, as we turn our attention back to Janja, but again, it doesn't look like it's enough. 10 seconds left, they're off. It's nice to see some love between the team members there. That's really nice. Jerne Kruder super experienced, and Janja so young but also experienced, just patting each other on the back, saying let's tackle bowlers number 2. Up next then, David Firenberg and Shauna Coxsey. Shauna Coxsey currently world number 1, totally dominated the end of 2015 and 2016. Obviously she's recovering from a shoulder injury, but make no mistake, she didn't look like she was suffering from any illness at all in the semi-finals. Really, really strong all weekend. Qualified with 3 tops in 5 attempts. So, yep, one of the 3 girls to get 3 tops. Let's see what Shauna can make of women's number 1. David Firenberg, on the other hand, the young German climber. Haven't seen him in too many finals, but he made 4th in Munich 2016. David also a brilliant lead climber, so the Germans putting on a strong show here as Shauna pulls on to this first section. Ooh, that was really interesting. She looks super comfortable, really composed, and just went maybe a little bit too slow there. She was almost too strong.
Mike, just I'll come back, Mike.
Yeah, carry on, Charlie, as you were.
Sorry to butt in. Yeah, sorry, Martin. Just to mention about David, remember, of course, Munich was the last Boulder World Cup. I know it's hard to believe, seems like a lifetime ago. So this is actually a second final in a row for David. But just as an interesting aside, we'll focus on Shauna for a second before we go to my interesting asides. Heading up for the bonus here.
That's great work from Shauna so far onto the bonus, and now it's all aboard the struggle bus on top of this volume. It's no holds up there, it's just pure friction and pure pain, I believe, for the finish, and the finish hold is upside down. So
I'm about 5 metres away from Shauna. I'm right underneath women's one. It looks an absolutely brutal move. That pinch with the right hand on top of that volume is almost non-existent. But Shauna's made very relatively light work, and she gives the volume a pass as well. I'm not quite sure what she was pulling on there, but she's the first person to get anywhere near this boulder. And I suspect the top beckons, but standing right underneath it, it's amazing how her looks. It might look on the live stream from directly behind her that it's quite a solid stance, but it's a very difficult move still to. I wonder if she's going to try and reach the top hold. I wonder if she's going to try and reach the top from where she is with her feet.
Yeah, that's right, Charlie. Just she pulls up to the finish hold now. She's on board. Finish it off. Shauna Coxsey. This is a perfect start to the competition. Crowd goes absolutely wild. Nice job, Martin. Nice job for the route setters. Pressure's off. We've seen a first top.
I don't know if you guys picked that up on the live stream. Sean had a look at the jump down from the top of the volume, didn't really fancy it. It's a long way from the top of this wall. It's a relatively small wall by bouldering standards, but it still takes its toll jumping off it repeatedly. It's quite a funny moment there as Shauna sized up the jump.
Last thing you need in front of 1,000 people is an epic fail coming off a boulder when you've just smashed the top. Shauna just taking her time there and put herself in a really good position in the final tonight. I know the British fans at home will be pretty pleased about that, but it's very, very early days yet. Obviously 4 boulders to tackle tonight.
Yeah, so Mike, earlier on I was about to say before Shauna topped that boulder that there's a lot of people behind the scenes in the Boulder World Cup. There's 100 volunteers here just from the local team. We also have all sorts of people working behind the scenes that don't necessarily appear on the live stream or on social media, such as the jury president. And I'm here with the jury president from the Meiringen event, Matthias. Matthias, for people that don't know what your role involves, just talk us through quickly. What does the jury president do at an IFSC event, and why is it so important?
The jury president role is actually a kind of like the name says, the president of the jury, so it means I'm responsible for the team of judges, route setters, from international level down to national level. So I try to guide the team that the competition runs really fair for everybody. So maybe it sounds easy, sometimes it's really easy, sometimes it gets complicated because we have at the same time technical problem, one appeal or something like, and you know, can be interesting. I'm not directly judging. The judging are the local judges. We are just the last instance if something goes wrong, that the climbers can come to us, and then together with the IFSC delegate, we try to solve the problem in the best way we can.
And so the best World Cup for you is one where you don't really have much to do?
Not really necessary. I mean, you know, like must be interesting, like climbing. So we are climbers. We like to help, not just to sit there. But of course, we don't want to have technical problems and some stupid issues. But you know, like if we can be helpful, especially for climbers, because we are here for climbers, not the other ways around. So that's the best competition for me.
Thanks very much, Matthias. 2 really interesting climbers out on the mat now. Alexei Rubtsov, of course, who won here last year, 3rd overall in the World Cups 2016. And Stasha, who looked superb earlier on in the qualifiers and the semi-finals.
Brilliant start here on the women's number 1 for Stasha Geho. Martin, she managed to keep her toe behind the arete there before reaching the jug. Is that something you had in mind?
Actually not, but after you take some kind of big swing, so...
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make the move that much easier, and it was interesting there, she didn't see the giant foothold underneath, just kind of went straight into the mantle position. So Stasha, she's a very experienced climber, even at such a young age, and it looks like she's having a think back, just try and relax the nerves a little bit and think about what she did wrong, and I'm pretty sure she spotted that foothold actually on the way down. And as we look at Alexei Rubtsov on the screen, then 28-year-old previous world champion, currently ranked 3rd in the world, and yeah, Alexei won here last year, so he obviously likes it here in Meiringen, so it'd be hard to bet against Alexei finding a podium here again tonight, and qualifying in 2nd place for the finals, comes out 2nd last. And yeah, but so far not so good for Alexei, and men's number 1 looking pretty hard right now.
Yeah, Kokoro was pretty close to the top.
Yeah, he worked his way through the bonus, was getting his feet up onto the blue section. We're just going to concentrate on Stasha once more because she had a brilliant first attempt, but here she goes and secures the bonus once again. Hopefully she spotted the jug. Oh no, foot just slipped. Did so well on her first effort. I hope that doesn't come back to bite her.
So we can see the mantle is not so easy too.
No, absolutely. And I mean, Shauna, obviously she's world number one, so she's going to potentially, if anyone's going to make it look easy, it's going to be her. But she obviously found the foothold just right there, and Stasha missed it on her first go, and I really think that's going to be key.
Yeah. The main thing is to try to put your left foot high on the jack under the roof.
Absolutely, and I think she has spotted that now, and hopefully she hasn't burnt too much time to get back to that position. Come on, Stasha. So strong on that bottom section. Oh, just as I say that, she's out of there.
I know I mentioned it earlier actually about Stasha, but she looked really strong in the qualifiers and the semis. So she hasn't quite gone on with women's one so far, but I still back her for a high finish here. Don't know if I want to commit myself to a podium.
Absolutely, and Charlie, from where you are down on the wall there, do you think Stasha obviously only has a minute left there, but do you think she just missed that foothold, was kind of got a lot of nervous energy and missed it, or what?
It looked to me like a miss, but obviously I'm seeing it in real time. I haven't seen the replay, but that was my first impression. Yeah, it'd be interesting perhaps if we get the chance to see it later on, but yeah, that was what I thought. And you could see there, never really in any doubt what she's thinking, which is great for us as spectators.
Oh, I really hope she's got enough time here. 30 seconds left. This could be one of her last goes. Come on, Stasha.
Yeah, I think the worry for Stasha could be that it took Shauna a long time from where Stasha is now to get in the top, and if you keep an eye on the clock, we're under 20 seconds, so the mantle move, gripping the volume with the right hand, took Shauna a long time.
10 seconds left. I don't think it's going to be enough time. She's trying her heart out. Oh, no. In the end, it didn't matter. No top then for Alexei Rubtsov and Stasha Geho. Miho Nanaka and Rei Sugimoto will be out next.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys had that on the live stream. I think Stasha gave 110% to that boulder. She collapsed onto the mat and took 5 or 10 seconds before she got up. I think the old phrase "she won't die wondering" would definitely apply to Stasha. I don't think she goes back into isolation feeling she left much out on the mat.
No, absolutely, and at this stage in the finals they've got nothing to lose, and they just will give it absolutely everything, and especially someone like Stasha. She just tries so hard every time she competes. But Team Japan then representing the top qualifiers, these are the guys who came through at first position from the semi-finals. That means they come out last. Miho Nanaka, the only climber with 4 tops in the semi-finals, looked incredibly strong, and Rei Sugimoto, what a show he put on for us earlier. I think Ray might like this boulder.
Yeah, Mike, Rei Sugimoto was Eddie Falk, the IFSC photographer, who we chatted to at the start of this broadcast and the semi-final. Ray was his man to keep an eye on. He certainly delivered for Eddie in the semi-finals, first place there, and a bit like Tomoa emerged last year. Could this be Ray's year?
Yeah, absolutely, it could well be. And Martin, I'm getting very nervous for you guys now. Ray is the last climber out on men's number 1. I really want to see a top.
Everybody wants to see the top, and Ray is the guy who can really do it.
So come on, Rei Sugimoto, let's see it. Let's get a top. The crowd's right behind him. Allez, Ray, come on. Looks good on that hole this time of the match. Oh yes, come on. The crowd is behind him right now. Come on, Ray. I was just about to say he's looking really comfortable, but his feet just went. Was that the method, do you think, there, Martin?
I think maybe it's about the condition. I'm not sure, but these guys should really hold this. These holds.
Just want to say once again what an incredible, difficult job the route setters have. We saw earlier with Kokoro making really good progress, and it was so close to a top, and now the climbers are struggling. That's how fine the line is. It's just millimeters in where the holds are placed makes a difference. But when I turn our attention to Miho Nanaka, the young 19-year-old from Tokyo, struggling also with the bottom of this boulder. So Shauna Coxsey currently looking in great shape with the only top on this boulder with 2 attempts. So Shauna Coxsey currently in the first position, and Stush is the only one so far to secure the bonus, I believe, beside her.
It'll be quite ominous for Shauna's competition. Just how, I don't want to say easy she made that boulder look, it looked like a real struggle pulling over, but considering no one else has really been that close, Shauna really cruised up that, and she's coming back from a long break from injury, a long break from competitions, and it's, I think, fairly ominous, the fact that really, much as it looked hard, it always looked like she was going to go into a top women's one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, on the first attempt, she almost looked like she was too relaxed, too strong. But Miho obviously proving that it's not an easy move, and the other girls are in a similar position.
Yeah, power's not a bad thing to have too much of.
Absolutely, and we've just 1 minute left. Going to be down to the final couple of attempts here for these final Japanese pair.
Miho last year, if you remember, Mike, was the only climber who really came close to a sustained challenge to Shauna. And there's only 50 seconds left on the clock. I think even at this early stage, I think this could be absolutely vital whether she can nail women's one, because if she doesn't, she's already behind. And after we saw Shauna streak into a huge lead in the first half of last season, Miho will be desperate to avoid that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've just under 30 seconds left. It's not looking good considering how slow the top section is, obviously with this 4-minute rule. But Ray's back in action then, 15 seconds remaining for him to find a top. Come on, Ray. Crowd is absolutely on their feet here. Come on, Ray. It's going to be very close to running out of time here. 5 seconds. Oh, and he knew he was running out of time. It's not meant to be. For Rei Sugimoto and Miho Nanaka, no tops on men's number 1.
Sitting next to the route setting team, and they look a bit disappointed with that first men's boulder, perhaps slightly overcooked. But one thing I should say is it's absolutely roasting down by the wall. I don't know if it's the same up in the commentary box. I think it's probably just a sheer number of people in the venue, but the temperature must have increased 10 degrees at least from the semi-finals, let alone when those boulders were set. So the route setters shouldn't beat themselves up too much, but not the start they would have wanted perhaps. But onto boulder 2, and this men's slab, I think we'll see some tops.
Here we go then, the next pair ready on the second boulders. It's Katharina Zahnewein from Austria and Keita Watabe. So first look then marching at the second boulders, the women on the far right hand side of this screen and the men just right of the middle. So the men move onto a slab and the women into the roof. What can we expect here, do you think?
For the women's problem is physical, so it's not very complex. One toe hook you have to find, and I think for sure we're gonna see some tops on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be brilliant. You know, the crowd is really fired up already here tonight. So Katharina Zahnewein then into the first section on these flat hold volumes, 3 identical volumes through the bottom, and some, as you can see there, a foot just drove past the foothold. Very, very bad very bad feet in a really steep roof. And speaking of bad footholds, men's number 2, we had a really good look at these feet earlier there. The dual texture footholds, very, very small, and a lot of power going through the toes. Do you think some of the climbers would have seen that they, obviously in the observational period, that they've got a slab and they would change their footwear for the slab boulder?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Sometimes that's always an indicator of how kind of experienced the finalists are, but I mean, with the list we got here tonight, you can imagine they've all factored that in, and the shoe wear is so important on every style.
Yeah, that's true.
So it looks like there she needs to get her left foot out before kind of moving her hands too much further left. So she's obviously on the furthest left-hand hold there, but to match, I don't think she's going to be able to move anywhere without being stable in the legs. Hands on hips at the moment for both of these climbers then. 2 minutes 25 you can see on your clock there left on men's 2 and women's 2. So obviously no top for Keita on. Oh, just to interrupt there. Really cool. What a move there. Just to hit the toe hook and all 4 points hit the same.
Very complex one.
Very complex move and really hard to nail. And speaking of complex, for me this next section I found it really hard to figure out what's going on. The bonus hold is down and right from where you are. You can see it with the green tape. Secures it but doesn't really use it. Was this the intended method here? Oh! That was amazing. Charlie, did you see that down the front of the wall? What a moment there from Keita Watabe.
I did see it, Mike, only out the corner of my eye. I actually wandered up, now that the actions move over to the far right-hand side of the wall. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm actually on the bottom of men's 1. I wanted to come and have a look and try and figure out why we didn't see any tops and why those moves around the bonus were stopping climbers. And it's actually quite surprising when you get here. The bonus hold itself, it's not great, but you know, by World Cups, I'm not a bad hole. But
interrupt you on the right-hand side there. Katerina Zabwine finds a top and really sets his competition alight for the women's category. Well, I'm sure we'll better catch a replay of that just as we look back at men's number 2. Charlie, just carry on there, sorry.
Yeah, no problem, Mike. Great top from Katja again. Only saw that from the other end of the mats, but putting her name up there. But yes, this the bonus hold and the small blue hold to the right of it don't actually look to me to be quite as bad as some of the lower holds. So the climbers were acing it through these lower holds, and it seems to be around the bonus that they're really struggling. And I'm actually quite surprised, and I'm looking at the boulder because they don't look too bad. Interesting, and a good example of why it's so difficult for route setters to figure out exactly where the hardest moves are and where the climbers are going to fall and where we're going to get separation.
So on with the competition then. The next pair out, Kokura Fuji and Petra Klinger. Every time Petra comes out, it's like the roof nearly blows off here. It's such great support for everybody, but obviously they're slightly biased with a Swiss climber and a Swiss crowd. A really fast start here from Kokura Fuji, who's known for his fast style, wasting no time. But I think, Martin, what do you think? You need to climb this one really slow, nice and calm.
Yeah, it's most of the times you have to be slow and calm on the slabs.
Yeah, this is definitely a prime example of that. Having said that, Keita Watabe got about halfway up the boulder, decided he had enough of calm and control and just rocketed for the finish hold, and it worked for him.
Yeah, the finish hold is big, so it's obvious you can jump into it.
I think Team Japan really have that confidence right now. The team is really on the up, and for them, you know, confidence during the final is so important. And yeah, he really showed the confidence there by just, you know, just no hesitation, just flying for the finish hold, sticking it, and putting himself in a good position in the final. Obviously, Keita Watabe has put himself in first position there, the only top we've seen tonight in the men's category. Did it in 3 attempts. Let's see what Kokura can do now. He has had an attempt already. Oh, just not quite finding that left toe that was so important, as we have a look with Petra then in the roof. If you guys want to hear some answers, or from let me start that again. If you have some questions for Charlie down on the mat, sorry, there's lots going on here. If you have some questions, Charlie is right down there in the thick of the action, so you want him to scope out how small a foothold is or talk to you about anything, just send those questions in on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Hashtag IFSCWC. Charlie is in a unique position right in amongst it down at the competition wall, and so we'd love to hear from you guys. So 2 minutes left. You may have heard that over the headset. 2 minutes left for these climbers to get it done. Both climbers currently pretty much at the bottom of the wall. Kokura this time sticks to the move, looking good. Nice and relaxed through this section. Can we see a repeat of this top move? Let's see what he does here. Does he go down to the bonus or just push on without it? Oh, it's so difficult to find a good body position there, and the fellow Japanese climber Keita Watabe was really impressive there.
Yeah, he showed his really impressive flexibility.
So you can see on the right hand side of the screen there, 1 minute remaining, and we have Petra Klinger still standing on the mat. Hard act to follow, Katarina Zawa, and you know these girls will have been in the isolation zone backstage, but the crowd was so loud when Kata topped that. Surely Petra knows that it's going to be important for her to get this done, especially after not doing women's number 1 that Shauna did. So all eyes on Petra Klinger and Kokoro Fuji at the moment. Then Kokoro is pulling back into this really tenuous position now. Just got to get his weight back left before he can weight the right foot. And it looks, oh no. Just about to say, he looks like he's got the right position. It wasn't meant to be, and you can see there quite a despondent looking Petra Klinger. Really not the dream start she was looking for. Shakes her head and she's actually walking off the stage. So real shame for Petra and for the local audience. Looks like that's going to be enough also for Kokoro Fuji. Time is up for him. Not meant to be also, which is a real shame. I thought he had a chance there marching when he looked like he was finding the position, and then just a tiny foot slip. You know, his foothold was so bad, and then he was out of there.
Yeah, actually, it's good to use the bonus hold, but you have to be really decided.
Yeah, you just have to commit to it. Well, we'll
Mike,
see.
it'd be
Yes,
interesting to get Martin's take on this. From down here, I'm right underneath men's 2 right now. It'd be really interesting if this boulder is felt to be harder for taller climbers, because we've got another one out, Yane Kruder, and it looked to me as if Kokoro couldn't quite get his foot high enough. It was just too much leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see right now. But Martin, what do you think? There's a potential suggestion that the boulder may be easier for the taller climbers on this slab because they can stand on the lower foothold and creep their right foot up. What do you think?
No, it's not this case for sure. And even it can be harder for the tallest guys, the upper section, because you have to put your foot really high up to your hand.
We're just going to concentrate on Janja Garnbret then, looking really good here on women's number 2. Janja really needs this after the start from Shauna on women's number 1, but Janja's just looking so comfortable right now up there. Obviously we saw Katazawa on top this, but oh, you can see how bad that hold is. Look at the tenacity here from the young Janja Garnbret. Come on, Janja. Oh! Just looks so composed, but those slopers are so bad, and you know, you can't help but think the heat is affecting things here tonight. We're going to turn our attention back to Yane Kruder, then back onto this slab, and you just have to be so calm on these bottom moves, Martin. It's quite hard to watch almost. So you can see 2 minutes 40 just under then for these next pair. Love to hear from you guys at home, as we said. Hashtag IFSCWC. Get in touch, it'd be great to hear from you.
Yeah, just in case there's any confusion, I've got my eye on the clock, and here we're having some problems, Mike. We've got 2 minutes 10 to go. Let me know if you need a time update, if you're having any issues with the clock.
Yeah, that's great, Charlie. Fantastic thing about being down the front of the wall then. So 18-year-old Janja Garnbret, she has 2 minutes left to get this done. A fantastic early burn for her. So let's see what she can do now. It would be great to see another top here and really light this competition on fire in the women's category. Oh, great flexibility once again from Janja, and just really complicated section here. She seems to have her leg currently wedged between her hands. Oh, and lands flat on her back once again.
Looks like not a good idea.
Mike, I'm sitting directly along from women's 2, looking at it side on, and Janja's knee was next to her nose, and her foot was above her head. Just trying to think if I've ever seen that done before. Anyway, shows the importance of flexibility after climbing.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think it's one of those things, sometimes it feels like you want to stick your leg in there just to get some weight off the hands and just take the weight on the heel for a little bit, but sometimes that doesn't help you on the later moves. And you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That time it didn't work, but you know, she's so flexible, she could just get it in there. But you know, the slap down on the mats was pretty hard as well.
Yeah, make sure everyone at home, make sure you check out the IFSC photographs from the qualifying round, Janja took one of the most spectacular falls I've ever seen from a boulder, landed pretty much on her head, half on her head, half on her shoulder, and Eddie Fout, the IFSC photographer, captured it at the perfect moment. It's a horrifying photo, but actually she was completely uninjured, but it looks pretty spectacular, and it looks like she's had enough. She's walking off right past me now, pretty despondent, a shake of the head, and I suspect Jerne, with 15 seconds to go, is not going to have enough time on men's 2 either. But no, not for Jerne. So 10 seconds to go. It looks like he's going to have another go. Mike, have you got the scores in front of you? Do you know if Jerne has had a bonus yet?
Yeah,
that was his aim. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I was just wondering why he was bothering with 10 seconds to go. But yeah, if he didn't have a bonus, it does make sense. But he didn't claim one. Heading back in, also looking pretty despondent.
And you're talking about people looking despondent. You know, realistically, Janja Garnbret is not used to losing, and for her so far, no tops after 2 boulders. You know, that's going to be psychologically quite difficult for Janja, I think. You know, she's always winning, but this is the World Cup final when the field is so stacked full of strong climbers, and looks like the next pair are ready. And great shot there. Shauna Coxsey currently sitting in 3rd position, 1 top in 2 attempts. Katarina Zarwin's behind her, 1 top in 3 attempts. Obviously, Kat's already had her go on the 2nd boulder, so if Shauna can top this, she'll be straight back into, or maintaining her lead, I should say, in the men's. Keita Watabe with that fantastic top on men's number 2 in 3 attempts was really cool. And now it's going to be David Fierenberg and Shauna Coxsey. All eyes on them. Show continues here on men's and women's number 2.
Very apparent from right down here on the mats, Mike, is how relaxed Shauna Coxsey looks. It's not a matter of the look on her face, but her whole body language. It just seems like it's an almost Zen level of focus when she walks out, and it just seems to translate into an incredibly relaxed style. She knows she's strong enough. She knows she can win. I mean, she had a few close calls where she nearly claimed the overall title in the boulder, and she finally got over the line last year, and it just seems like it's really relaxed her. She just looks as if she walks out expecting to get to the top of the boulder, and hey, 4 minutes is plenty of time. She doesn't take her time, she gets ready, pulls on, and what do you know, she seems to be topping everything right now.
Yeah, come on, Shauna's looking really good here. Once again, so solid on this 2nd boulder. Come on, Shauna, finish it off. Come on, Shauna, this is so tenuous, but she's looking really solid now. Come on, Shauna. 1 hand on, she's got to get 2. Looks happy up there. Shauna Coxsey maintains the lead, the first climber with 2 tops. Fantastic work from Shauna, and the perfect start to the competition season here for Shauna Coxsey, once again dominating. And just to answer a quick question on Twitter there, it's great to hear from you guys. So why does Shauna have a little towel with her? That is because the mats don't have any carpet cover that you see in some gyms around the world, and the chalk and the dust builds up on the floor, and Shauna likes to prepare her shoes to make sure they're perfectly clean before starting. So you can see it also with David Fierenberg on the mat. He has a towel just to check his feet are clean. Obviously the rubber on the shoes and the contact that holds is so important, so that's where the towel comes in. Thanks for the question though, and obviously we'd like to hear from you. Hashtag IFSCWC.
Mike, just as a follow-up to that, I don't know if people remember seeing Adam Onder in bouldering competitions, but he actually brings a jar of water out with him, which I'm pretty sure is unique. He dips his fingers in it. I'm not sure if it's a regular thing, but I remember talking to him once and he said he had bad skin. And so he brought a jar of water. I don't think he does it every Boulder World Cup, but it'd be quite interesting to see what the most odd item people remember being brought out onto the stages for a Boulder World Cup. But yeah, apparently Adam was having skin problems, and dipping his fingers in the water really helped, and he brought one out onto the mat, and it didn't spill, which is more extraordinary.
More importantly, I think in Britain we would refer to that as some sticky damp, some bit of dampness on the hands. Obviously he's going to chalk up straight afterwards, but yeah, these climbers will do pretty much whatever it takes, and the skin is so important, and the best competitors are generally ones who have very good skin conditions. But attention now back onto David Fierenberg as he's struggling at the bottom of this. He does have 1 minute remaining. Obviously we are on the 4 minute only format here. Obviously that has changed things quite significantly in the finals, and time will tell how that pans out. But so far David Fierenberg has 50 seconds left, just under, to make this happen. Obviously the tactics would have changed for the finalists. They know the new rules, they know how it works. they know how to make the most of it.
Quite an
35
interesting,
seconds.
just an interesting thing that happened just then, Mike. There was an illegal start from David, and he got called down by the boulder judge. But it shows how alert so many of the officials are, and it shows why we need so many people double checking so things don't get missed. Sorry. Bear in mind we also film all the attempts so that they can be referred to on film. But when he had that illegal start, literally 4 people must have jumped up around me to make their way onto the mat. This time it's the same thing again. It's just the judge this time. But yeah, very impressive to see how quick the reaction was and how many people reacted simultaneously to that illegal start.
Yeah, and I think the organisers and the IFSC and everybody has done a fantastic job here in terms of the competition. They've really been really on it. And let's have a look at the scores then. In the women's then, Shauna Coxsey sitting nicely at the top, looking comfortable so far. 2 tops in 3 attempts. Katazawa in behind her. Really looking forward to this next pair though. Alexei Rupsov and Stasha Geho. Stasha did really, really well on women's mum. Potentially just missed the foothold, which potentially cost her the top. But she's been looking seriously on form this weekend, and she looks pretty happy out there. Charlie, what do you think?
That again, Mike?
Just saying, Stasha just looks like she's enjoying herself so much out there, and that mentality looks like it's working for her.
Yeah, she's actually a really enjoyable climber to watch because she comes out with a big smile on her face. She enjoys being in front of the crowd. She's very sociable when you chat to her. But it just seems like there's something that happens as soon as she touches the holes. She just becomes this climbing monster, if you like. Dead-eye focus.
Absolutely, she turns into Alexei
100%
Rupsov.
effort. By the way, turns into Alexei. Speaking of Alexei, by the way, he actually turned and went to the boulder before the timer had started counting down, before the 4 minutes started. Once again, just as I mentioned about when there was an illegal start from David, it's a series of IFSC officials like a rugby scrum piling onto the mats to tell him to turn around and stop. Again, very quick reactions from the IFSC officials, but it was only an early start, not a false start.
Yeah, as you can see there, just going off the screen, Keita Watabe currently sitting in first position with his top of men's number 2, and with Alexei and Ray the only ones left kind of still on this boulder or still to come. He's putting himself in a really good position there, the young Japanese climber. As we look back then at Stasha on this really steep section through the roof, we saw Janja just powering through and really pouncing on that bonus hold, the first blue hold over the roof. So currently Stasha nor Alexei have really found any kind of progress at the bottom. Not too much action just for them just yet, but with 2 minutes 30 left, they certainly have time. So again, we'd love to hear from you guys. Send Charlie his questions. He's down at the wall, hashtag IFSCWC, as we look at a great close-up of Stasha in the roof. So now from here, she has to fire off exactly like that, firing over. Marcin, was this the method you were expecting for Stasha? You know, really pouncing over with that right hand, as we saw with Janja. Saying it for Stasha, she's doing the right method, firing over with the right hand to the big sloper.
Yeah.
Has to be really fast under here.
Shauna match before going over the roof.
Okay, nice. Okay, so do you think we should be expecting them to come in and match and before going up?
Yeah, I think it's easier.
Well, I don't think anything's easy in a Boulder World Cup final, but it certainly worked for Shauna. As we have another look then between Alexei and Stasha. Just a question there on the Twitter. Charlie, maybe you can help me out with this one, but when is the roadshow of the IFSC heading to Edinburgh? I do believe that is a lead World Cup later on in the year. You and your ultimate wisdom, do you have a month off the top of your head?
It's Mike, but I was just struggling to get my microphone on, and sorry for the delay. Yeah, we're going on in September. I believe it's the 23rd and 24th of September. We're heading to Edinburgh.
Yeah, and it's been a while since the World Cup has been, Senior World Cup that is, has been at the RAFO, the International Centre there, so it'd be really cool to be back at RAFO, an incredible set of walls there and a great team. So we're really looking forward to that one later on in the year, but Man, September feels like a very long, long way away from here right now. And Stasha with 20
I suspect
seconds
the
left.
weather might feel a bit different as well, actually, Mike. It's lovely and warm here in Meiringen, and, you know, nothing against Edinburgh, but I fear we might not have a repeat of the sunny blue skies that we've had here in Switzerland. We can but hope.
So once again, we've got this situation then, someone rushing to get a bonus, but it's not meant to be. 4 minutes is up, no more time. Alexi walks away. You know, Charlie, you could see from there, he's just looking back at the wall, kind of just a bit lost, really.
As he heads off into isolation, he's still looking. I think frustrated by that one. Never really looked like Alexi got to grips with it. Just never seemed to find the beater that worked for him. But still 2 boulders to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go then with the final pair on the second boulder. This is Miho Nanaka and Rei Sugimoto. Any predictions here, Marcin, for this pair? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they will do these problems.
Oh, good confidence. That's what I like. No sitting on the fence, just, yep, it's going to happen. Well, we're definitely sending them as much positive energy as we can because we really want to see some more tops. Obviously,
yeah,
both bowlers have been topped. Yes, Charlie.
Yeah, well, the only top we've seen on this was by Keita Watabe on this men's 2. And you might correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but I believe we haven't even seen any other bonus holds on it. Nobody else got anywhere near it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some guys look like they were close to touching the bonus, but I think they're finding the sequence really hard to read. And just we saw Kokura Fuji working his way up rather than going back down to the bonus. And Marcin was saying he thinks that's really not going to work. But we can see
what was interesting is that Keita got it. He got at the top on the same attempt that he got the bonus. So perhaps once you're at the bonus, you've done the hardest bit. Perhaps.
Absolutely, and time will tell, but there's only one climber left, and it's Rei Sugimoto. But after his qualifying performance in semis, maybe he's the guy. But another false start there. Marcin, it's very funny seeing so many false starts here. Do you think that the start seems pretty obvious?
Yeah, it's not funny. But he was in rush, so he forgot to touch the volume with his second foot.
But you know, you do have to wonder if the new format of 4 minutes makes the climbers start to rush a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
So with 2 minutes 30 left, let's see what happens. Really want to see some more tops here. Rei Sugimoto and Miho. Miho not looking really very comfortable at all at the bottom of that one so far. And you know, Marcin mentioned it earlier with the being tired, and it's very, very highly likely. But oh, you can just see a great close-up of how bad that hold was. You guys have put some really, really grim holds on here.
Actually, only one problem Rei didn't top in the semis was the slab.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a really good point. Rei did really well on the harder, powerful problems that some of the other climbers didn't do. So maybe he's not a slab specialist. So maybe Keita Watabe is putting himself in a really good position by doing the slab. So 1 minute 45 left. Miho Nanaka so far really struggling on those bottom volumes, as we've seen with the likes of Petra and Stasha really struggling through the lower section. It's really strange, this women's number 2 here, Marcin. Some girls seem to just find it really straightforward, and some are really struggling with the bottom section. Is the bottom particularly like the hardest section?
No, it's the whole problem is more or less at the same level all the time.
Yeah, it's quite balanced.
It's balanced, yeah, and it's physical.
Yeah, you do have to wonder, you know, we are only on the second boulder of 4, but tiredness could possibly be playing an early part in this final. Obviously, like we said, the heat, it's really hot in here. Maybe that's playing, you know, having a negative effect on the climbers, but she's looking solid in this position now. Oh, sticks it, nicely done. Can we see a top here? 50 seconds left for Miho, it should be enough. Come on, Miho, you can see how bad those slopers are. Come on, Miho, the crowd's right behind her. Come on now, Miho. Looking really good. 35 seconds left. Come on. Fantastic shot there. The crowd's getting right behind her. Plenty of time, Miho. Come on, stay composed and get it done. Really struggling to release that right hand and not spin off. The local MC giving her the time. 15 seconds. No, no. Oh, Charlie down at the wall. That was heartbreaking. We thought she had it from up here.
Well, she had it from down here as well, looked really impressive, but that move to the top, which Shauna didn't really seem to struggle with, obviously a lot harder than it looks. And just 1 point, actually, I said about how ominously good Shauna was looking. Just looking at my results, Shauna's got 2 tops, that's obviously the headline, but what's interesting, only 3 attempts. She's only left the ground 3 times so far in this final, and she's only come back down once without a top. So an extremely impressive start from Shauna, and made to look doubly impressive by the fact we've got world-class climbers struggling to get anywhere near her.
So I think what's interesting, obviously, in the men's competition, 2 boulders down and only 1 top in the men's competition so far. So, you know, what could happen here is it could really come down to the wire, and we could just see 1 top or 2 tops, and that could be the result. So, yeah, first look then at men's number 3 and women's number 3. Marcin, what have we got here in store? We can see both boulders. Both look really cool. Let's have a look at women's boulder. We can see Katazawa, and what's going on here?
It's a kind of tricky traverse on volumes. As you can see, Kata is trying.
Is this the method, staying really low?
Actually, quite right method.
Looks like she's read this boulder perfectly then so far, and reaching up to the bonus hold, and there's not really much on that, but ooh, this is the method we're looking for?
Yes, we was trying to push more that it was easier to do it face into the crowd.
Oh really? Okay, so maybe later on we might see someone figure this piece of beta out and walk, a slow walk across the wall facing the crowd. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, but obviously these guys only have 4 minutes, so it's going to be really tough.
Mike, I'm down here at the wall with Eddie Falco, we talked to earlier, IFSC photographer. Eddie, with 2 boulders in, first impressions, not many tops would be mine.
Yeah, well, anyone watching will obviously know that. It's pretty clear that the boulders have been set pretty hard. The low percentage boulders really the holds in this heat, because what you can't see on the stream is the crowd is absolutely packed. It's probably 26, 27 degrees in here. When the guys set a big empty hall, it was probably 14 degrees. And these friction-dependent holds are just going off. It was probably a big advantage for Kiata going out first on that slab because he got the best conditions. It's gone downhill ever since, and I think that could be a really important top. It looks like this is going to be a pretty desperate final in terms of friction.
And I mean, I guess in the women, all eyes are on Shauna Coxsey, quite rightly. 2 tops already, only 3 attempts. But who's impressed you from what you've seen on the first 2 boulders out of the men?
I will be honest, it's been really actually difficult to say. I mean, you're seeing great strength out of a lot of the guys, but they're not making the progress to reflect that. I think Ray is looking like he's on superb form, but he just effectively timed out on the first boulder. He got to a point where he was looking at the clock rather than the moves to the finish. And in terms of Alexei, just looked like he was fighting for bonus on the second rather for the top, which was the wrong way to go. The bonus, I think, was a bit of a trick hold there. So, but I think in the guys, it sounds weird, 2 boulders in, but you can't pick who's climbing well because you haven't seen them climb enough.
Yeah, it's a good point Eddie makes there. We've still got 2 boulders to go. It feels like there's been a lot of action already, but we're actually just over halfway through this final. But yeah, definitely a hard set of boulders. I think everyone agrees on that.
Yeah, I'm going to put this question to Marcin. Eddie suggesting there that the friction and the temperature is really playing a part here in the men's final. What do you think?
For sure, it's much hotter here than when we tried the problems, and also some
lights. It's like
yes.
Hang on, just so we're going to interrupt you. We'll come back to that. Katazawa seems to be having a really good turn here in finals, and oh, what a move! Smashes out the last move, footless. Awesome job from Katazawa, and she is having a brilliant finals. Really, really good job on women's 2, and now on women's 3. Superb effort there. That was really cool from the Austrian. And it looks like Keita Watabe is out of time now on men's number 3. As we look back, look at this next move is really cool here, Marcin. Just no footholds, just giving it a pure power punch to the finish hold. What a cool move. So just going back to what you were saying, obviously the lights and the temperature. I mean, you obviously do think about this. You factor it in. You know, this is not a new problem, but it's hard to know how hot it's going to get overall.
Of course. And then the other problem is that they during these comps they already lose a lot of skin.
Yes.
So they are sweating more and more.
It's just such a difficult job. I mean, it's virtually impossible to know what condition the climbers are going to be in, what condition the holds are going to be in. It's really, really difficult. But on with the competition, Kokoro Fuji and Petra Klinger are out, and we've just seen a top on women's number 3. Let's see what we can see on men's number 3. But we are with Petra on the slab. She's on board.
Yes.
Here we go. Kokoro Fuji's looking so strong now. Really annihilating.
Flashing, no. This is incredible. This is incredible.
This is what we wanted to see then. Kokoro Fuji showing why he is such a beast. Just really taking men's 3 to the cleaners. He just destroyed that boulder.
It was just the hardest men's problem of this final.
Really, so according to the route setter Marcin, this is the hardest problem, and maybe he likes this style because he really obliterated that, and that was really, really amazing.
Power.
Super cool.
Mike, if you think back to when we went through the boulders with Manu, another member of the route setting team, he said men's 3 wasn't especially hard to read, but it was a power boulder. It's physically the hardest boulder out there, and I think that's quite a big statement for Kokoro Fuji to top it seemingly at ease. I have to say, from down here, I don't know if it was the same on the live stream, the second he pulled on, he looked like he was going to top it. I know that's a big statement with so many moves, but it never really looked in doubt. The only thing I would say is, I remember Manuel Cornu, I think it was, who dropped it in Munich when he only had one hand on the top hold and then fell off. Yeah, Kokoro started celebrating slightly prematurely. Sorry, Mike.
Sorry to interrupt. He like you say, he's celebrating prematurely there, as we have a fantastic replay of Kokoro. And I think, like you say, just as he pulled on there, he's like, right, that's enough messing around. Let's get on with this.
Yeah, and, he really, it just never really looked in doubt, I have to say. And as I say, the only time it did is when that possibly slightly premature celebration. I didn't want him to drop it with one hand already there. I mean, I think, to be honest, he probably would have gone straight back up there, but he would have burned an attempt had he fallen off with one hand on the top.
Absolutely. So all eyes back on Petra Klinger there. She's really struggling in this lower section. Just doesn't really seem to find the right position to be able to step across to that second left hand. And what a close up there. This time she managed to get her left foot on. She's really struggled to get to that position so far. It's like extreme walking here on women's number 3. The crowd's right behind her. She's looking good now, but we know from Kato that it's not over at this point. A hard move to the first blue jug. Come on, Petra. Come on. Oh no! A couple of hundred anguish screams come out at the same time there. That was a real shame from Petra. She was in it, but Marcin, this hold is it's not a jug, huh?
No, it's not a jug. But actually, it's a good idea to match one hand over the.
Just clamp down on top of the first hand, so left hand in, right hand smash down on top of it, stop any slipping off. But it's really obviously a slow problem to get across potentially for Petra. 40 seconds left. Is it going to be enough time? Come on, Petra Klinger. This time she makes it across much more quickly with the left foot, and she's in a good position here, but she is getting short on time. 20 seconds. The MC is telling her the time. Come on, Petra. Really running short now. This time, can she make it happen? The crowd goes wild for her. Come on, Petra. Yes! Petra Klinger gets it done. Goosebumps in the arena all round. An awesome moment here in Meiringen. Woo! Charlie, what's that like down at the front of the wall?
Well, I've got an earpiece in both ears, and it still nearly rattled my brain loose. The crowd, move by move, got louder and louder, and the top was, without a doubt, the loudest noise I've heard here in Meiringen. Amazing moment there, and I was just going to say, while Team Slovenia, Janja and Jerne come on, A good question perhaps for you guys, but there's a question on social media from Akash R. Shah. He wants to know if being taller is ever a problem in climbing, or is it always better to be taller? Well, from my point of view, is perhaps on the shorter side, I would say it's better to be taller. But I think one of the really interesting things about climbing, even if you look at competition bouldering, successful boulders, you've got relatively small, wiry climbers like Tomoe Narasaki, and then tall, big climbers like Jan Hoyer, and they've both been hugely successful. So for me, some boulders are easier for the taller, some are easier for the smaller, but I'd be interested to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's something I feel passionate about. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. Yone Kruda, just as I said it, yeah, for me it's something I feel quite strongly about because I'm a taller climber myself, and some people always assume it's easier because you're tall. And if you look, you look at the lineup of the athletes and you walk around the hall here, generally everyone is they're very, like you say, Charlie, very small, short climbers, very skinny, super light, and I think weight plays a huge part, especially when you get to the smaller holes and putting the power down through the feet. For me, the smaller climbers are the ones who are dominating the sport. There is always anomalies like Adam Ondra, Jan Hoyer, like you say, but generally speaking, it's the shorter climbers who are dominating the climbing.
Yeah, it's to me, it's one of the most fascinating aspects of watching climbing, because all the boulders in the bouldering and all the routes in the lead are different. There is scope for all body shapes in virtually all sports, and in team sports, every position within the team. There's a kind of accepted best size and body shape, and yet in climbing, there doesn't seem to be that at all.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's hard to tell from the screen sometimes quite how big or small people are, but someone like Janja Gambre, as we can see there on women's number 3, she's actually tiny. She's such a small climber, so light. And back in the action, Yone Kruda hits it with the 3 fingers front 3, gets it into the crimp. He's happy on the crimp there, he's got it locked in. Ooh, and a big move out there. What we're seeing here from marching from, we saw Kokura Fuji just completely annihilate this boulder, but it's clearly not very easy.
It's every single move is very hard.
Absolutely, and that's definitely what we've seen from Yone Kruda as Janja Gambre pulls back on. Just really on this bottom section, it's really causing some problems, and no one so far has spotted the facing out maneuver. And I think what's really tricky is they're looking up at the bonus. There's not really much there, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you're really going to progress unless you get your feet to the left first.
Women's problem.
Yes.
Yeah. The first you have to do is to step on the left volume.
Yeah, that's what we saw from Kata and Petra. Janja, so far the third climber out on this third boulder. Hands on the hips once again for Janja. She's not having a great finals here tonight. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stream here at home. We'd love to hear from you. #IFSCWC. As we have another look then at Yone Kruda. Did really well a minute ago, got to the penultimate hole, couldn't quite stick it, but this hold here, this move looks savagely difficult. Oh. It looks like he's going up to quite a good crimp there, marching, but obviously it's so hard to get there.
No, it's not a good crimp.
No.
it's just slopey edge, actually.
It's a good crimp for Kokura Fuji, but not for anybody else. One man's crimps, another man's jug. There we go. So back in action, the local MC is asking for some energy out of the crowd to get these climbers up. Oh, there's a good effort there from Yone just off screen, but as Janja once again struggles. I hope she's okay there. Charlie, could you see that down at the front of the wall? Janja really nearly took her teeth out there.
Yeah, that was a very, very close call, and everyone around me is shaking their hands. Lauren Laporte, the head of the route setting team, is next to me, can barely look. It's as if route setting wasn't hard enough. We talked about temperature, trying to get the right number of tops, tall climbers, small climbers. You also have to foresee what happens if you fall from every move. But yeah, Janja, I think, missed hitting her face on that volume by a matter of millimetres. And Shauna Coxsey's out now.
I think we're actually going to have a slow-mo replay here, which could be tough to watch. Maybe it's the one. Oh, Jesus.
She did miss it, right?
Yeah, by a whisker, to say the least.
Yeah, I was just going to say Shauna Coxsey's out now, and her body language changed again. I mentioned earlier how relaxed she looked. This time, sometimes a bit unusual for Shauna. He walks out, big smile to the judge, and looks, if anything, even more than relaxed than earlier. Earlier she looked relaxed and focused. Now she looks relaxed, focused, and having the time of her life. And as well, she might spend a long break from injury, a lot of rehab, and she looks in superb form.
Well, I think one thing that will make her slightly more nervous is currently another climber catches Zawa and also on 2 tops familiar with her, so she needs to top this to keep herself into a really good position. But to be honest, she's not looking like she's struggling with the lower section too much there. First time, gets herself established on the second set of volumes. So, I think time will tell, but Shauna didn't look too unhappy there on the first section.
No, she's actually, she's still, I don't know if you can see it, she's actually still smiling. She seems to be the happiest climber in the hall. I think I would be with a lead at the top, but it almost seems like the more she relaxes, the better she performs, which is a great trait to have as a sports person.
Thanks for your questions on the Twitter using the hashtag IFSCWC. Great question here from My Outdoors. If many of these years athletes will be able to make the transition into the Olympics. We talked about that earlier in the semi-finals, and someone like Janja Gabra, who we just saw. And I'm going to come back to that question in just a minute, just as we see David Fierenberg fire off, because Shauna Coxsey is established once again. Oh, nicely done. Skips past the bonus, doesn't need it. Can she finish it off in style here? Shauna Coxsey on her second attempt. Oh, so strong on the lock-off. No problems at all. Smile on the face. Ladies and gentlemen, Shauna Coxsey, 3 tops in 5 attempts. So far, so good for world number 1. Yeah, just as we see a replay there, going back to the question about the Olympics, yeah, it's really hard to say so far. Marcin, obviously, some of the athletes. How many of them have been talking to you about the Olympics? Is there a lot of talk amongst the trainers about moving forward with the Olympic format?
Sorry, I really don't know. For sure, everybody is thinking about it, and especially young people.
Yeah, I think it's climbers like Janja, just like you say, younger climbers who are still in their teens. They've got 3 years to get ready for the Olympics, and I think they have the ability to adjust more easily to taking on extra disciplines if they are a one discipline specialist. But if we're talking about Olympics, look at Team Japan. A lot of their athletes are really good at routes and bouldering, so they've just got to take on the speed element. So yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. There is some triple discipline events coming up, I believe. The next year, 2018, we'll start to see some championships in 3 disciplines. So yeah, time will tell.
Actually, with Laurent Laporte here, the head of the route setting team here in Meiringen, and it looked like you enjoyed watching Shauna on women's 3.
Yeah, because his method is, I think, very hard, and you have to be very, totally crazy to make that.
And did you, when you were testing the boulder, did you think it was possible doing it like that? Was that a method that you found?
Yeah, we think on the start the pocket was not turning like this, and we decided to put the pocket better, and now it's possible. We know that, but we will not take the risk. It was complicated a little.
Yeah, it was an amazing moment from Shauna. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, that's right, and that does end the rotation for David Fierenberg. And out next we have the Russian, like I said, he was the winner last year, Alexei Rupsov. He'll be joined by Stasha from Serbia. It's getting really close here. Obviously, Shauna's out in the lead at the moment. Still 1 boulder to go, but 3 tops in 6 attempts. Behind her is Katerina Zawa in 2 tops in 6 attempts. So in the women's, it's becoming wider open, but in the men's, Kokoro Fuji 1 top in 1. That flash of men's number 3 has put him into first position. Fellow Japanese athlete Keita Watabe behind him, 1 top in 3, and another Japanese, Rei Sugimoto, behind him, still to come out with 1 bonus in 2 attempts. So all still to play for. Let's see how these next pair get out and get on with men's and women's number 3.
Just a quick point about women's 3 as we see Stasha attempt it. Let me know how it looks on the live stream, but the wall that this is on is
really quite overhanging. If those moves look deceptively easy on the live stream, the wall must overhang at least 15 degrees. And no one's looking at that right now. They're watching Alexei, and that's a top from him, and I think he's quite pleased about that. For people that watched the semi-final broadcast earlier, they'll know I was chatting to Alex Kazanov a few days ago, and he said Alexei's the most friendly, relaxed, nice guy in the world, and then it seems like he arrives at the competition venue, and for the next 3 days, he's just this machine. Doesn't say much, just gets on with it, and you can see his intensity paying off there.
Absolutely, talking about getting on with it, I just had a closer look at the scores, and Shauna has already secured the victory. So Shauna Coxsey wins the first World Cup here in Meiringen, so before even coming out on women's number 4, Shauna has done everything it takes with 3 tops in 6 attempts. Katarina Zawin is the only person who can get close to that. Even if Shauna failed on the last boulder, it would be at least 3 tops in 7. So Shauna Coxsey, world number 1, maintains her position at the top of the podium and has completely dominated this women's final, but places still to play for, 3rd and 2nd. So Stasha is still out there for the fight. And obviously it's all about the rest of the podium now, silver and bronze.
One thing that really interested Mike, I know Shauna's already clinched the victory, but women's 4 is really completely different from any of the boulders they've been on so far, apart from the top half of women's 1, which you may remember, it seems a while ago now. Shauna climbed really, really well, and women's 4 is the only full slab, so it will be very interesting to see how she gets on. I don't think many people will bet against her topping that as well and make it a clean sweep.
Yeah, it's been an amazing performance tonight from Shauna. She'd be so happy with that, just to come out, dominate 3 boulders like that, and just, to be honest, she absolutely crushed them as well. So a brilliant win there from Shauna, but you know, the action definitely doesn't finish there. Men's competition's wide open, and women's position still up for grabs. So Stasha Geho is out there. Come on, Stasha.
Come on.
Stasha's now stood up nicely, looking really good. 1 minute to spare. Come on, Stasha.
Next up noise a little bit.
Nicely done, sticks the job. Come on, Stasha. Finish it off. Oh, nicely done, Stasha Geho. Her fans down in the front, really, really supportive, jumping up and down just like her. Great job there from Stasha Geho. A really cool move here. She decided to use the bonus that time. Obviously, Shauna didn't need it. Stasha fired it off. So the next pair out then, the final pair on the 3rd boulders, it's Miho Nanaka and Rei Sugimoto. So obviously we know Miho cannot win. Stasha puts herself in 3rd position with that top. 1 top in 3 attempts. I do believe Miho also cannot make a podium now. We'll see. Potentially on the last boulder, we'll see. Time will tell. Obviously it's pretty tricky to keep up with all the action, such incredible action it is as well, and check the scores. A hell of an effort there from Rei Sugimoto. Flying once again. Rei putting on a good show here.
Miho Nanaka actually, Mike, the way she pulled on to women's 3, with the possible exception from Shauna, she looked the most comfortable, and perfect timing, thank you Miho. She takes her hands off. Yeah, she looked very comfortable pulling on it. A lot of the climbers have made that balancy first move out to the left look really, really difficult. Miho just looked imbalanced. For some reason, it's the tiny subtleties in body position and movement. She really made that move look pretty straightforward, and it was the jump left that we saw there from the bonus that she struggled with. But yeah, I think this is a boulder she can get on with. I think we could well see a top for her from Miho Nanaka, judging by how she looked on the lower section of it. So yeah, Miho's pulling on again. We'll just check the replay of her. That was what you're seeing on the screen now is her heading up left for the blue volume. She wasn't too far off that. Looked like she hit the sweet spot, which is the left-hand side of the hold. And she's coming up for another go. Once again, seemed to find that lower section pretty straightforward, and this time she hits the sweet spot with both the left and right hands. I think it was the right hand last time she missed with. Should be about to see a top here. It's a bit further than it looks, that jump, but she gets it. Miho Nanaka with 2 minutes to spare heads inside. Yes, in the second she had her first attempt on that boulder, she looked very comfortable on it. I felt she had it in her to do at the top, and once she nailed that dyno, got the accuracy right, going left, she had it sorted. So we'll keep an eye on Ray. It's power boulder. Extraordinary to watch Kokoro Fuji climbing it. Not only climbed it, but flashed it, seemingly with minimal of fuss. Probably took a bit more out of him than he let on at the time, though, because there was a big celebration at the top.
I'm just having a look at the scores here, Charlie, just back into the commentary booth and into the women's. That top for Miho puts her into third position with 1 top in 2 attempts. Obviously, at the end of this rotation, we'll have a closer look. We're going to come back to the scores very shortly as we got Rei Sugimoto. Oh, just not quite meant to be for him on this bottom section at the moment. He is looking a little bit tired, to be honest, but Rei's incredibly good shape at the moment, so we'll see if he can make anything happen in the last 45 seconds. But yeah, just going back to what I say, obviously Shauna has secured the victory with ease, which is, it's frankly ridiculous the way she dominated tonight's final, but other places are definitely still up for grabs with Petra, Stasha, Miho, and Kata. All, the first 3 I mentioned there all have 1 top, Katarina with 2, so yeah, it's still wide open.
This men's 3, Ray, now a wry smile, he's done, but yeah, men's 3, I have to say, extraordinary boulder. It's like having a fight, to be honest. It's all body and it just sheer horsepower. And a guy like Alexei Rubtsov, you felt would get on well with something like that. Very intense, very strong, very focused climber. Duly delivered, but I think the performance on that boulder, without a doubt, Kokoro Fuji, a flash, extraordinary stuff. You might be able to hear the venue MC very kindly walking over just as I start speaking. Thank you, Mr. MC. But yeah, on to number 4, and I have a sneaky feeling we might see Shauna complete the Grand Slam on this boulder.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, if Kata does this, she will put herself into guaranteed second position, 3 tops. No one could beat her for second place at that point, so it should be a fantastic result for Kata and a running jump for the women now.
Ooh. Yeah, so we talked about this with Manu, one of our route setters earlier. Probably heard us at the start of the stream. We were talking about if the move can be done statically. He just laughed and said, well, maybe. But certainly a dynamic start to women's 4 is what we're expecting, and it's what Katya has done on her first attempt and looks like she's going to do on her second. Let's have a look as she heads off right. It's a really tricky move because not only do you have to control your body as you move rightward, you've got to be extremely accurate with your hands as you land to get the correct alignment of the bolt-on hold. So just getting there is not job done. Job done is when you've got the alignment correct on the hands, been really accurate and can kill your momentum. We shall see, but I suspect a climber who gets to the bonus will fancy their chances of a top.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's really all coming down to the last boulder in the men's. Currently, Kokoro, Alexei and Keita are all on 1 top.
Yeah, this is, but just quickly, Mike, amazing start to men's 4. You have to kind of generate momentum before you swing. So you see climbers lining up the jump often, but this time we saw Keita today, he's actually taking his feet off and swinging to generate momentum like on a child's swing. Really unusual start, but one thing to point out, you probably won't see it from the angle you're currently looking at, but there's black tape on the left-hand side of the panel that the boulder is on, so that means that he can't use that wall to the left to push off to generate his momentum. He's got to do it using just his body weight and the swinging motion of his legs, which makes a hard move even harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, someone asked the question earlier about the modern style of route setting, and for me this is a classic example. The leg swing at the start, marching. Is this, to me this looks like a Manu Hasler competition style boulder. Is it, you brought another trick out here.
Yeah, this is just a modern route setting maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you've got kind of the leg swing and then the 1-2-3 catch potentially. Is this the right method, going down to what was actually a foothold in women's number 1?
It's not supposed to be there, I think, in this problem.
Oh really? Okay. You decided to leave it in for the final?
I think we just leave the corner because we don't want to eliminate athletes just because of touching over the.
Yeah, so it's a safer bet to leave it in. And when you guys were testing this move, when you obviously went right hand down and then left hand over, did you stick the move just on the pair?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see how that pans out later on. Maybe the volumes that they're actually, you can see them brushing down on the right, is more of a confusion than anything else for them. We'll see.
We'll see. For sure not a big help.
Just as we see, Katarina Zawine makes it across the lower section. She's putting herself in a really good position here. Katarina Zawine, oh no!
Mike, we've got a really knowledgeable crowd here in Meiringen. They understood exactly how tenuous that move was. It was a huge cheer when Katja nailed it, and she's gone straight back in for another attempt, and I'm pretty sure she's going to get timed out. That was so close from Katja, but you can tell Meiringen is a climber's town because the locals understood exactly what a big moment that was, and she's just strolling off the stage now. It's slightly hacked off. You won't get much closer without topping.
Talking about being hacked off, you see Keita there, he got timed out on the boulder, and real frustration because he had stuck the move. That was it, his go was over. So Kata currently sits in second, still remains in second, 2 tops in 6. In theory, Miho, Stasha and Petra can take the silver medal from her. We'll see how this progresses. So the men's competition then, Marcin coming down to the final boulder. It must be quite exciting from the route setting point of view. You must be happy about this.
Yeah, of course. It's interesting problems, I think.
So if Petra does this in 2 goes or less, I believe it would be, she'll put herself in second position onto the podium. She's obviously so keen to get on with it. Judges said, nope, you must wait.
Oh Mike, that was a comedy moment from down here. Petra turning around like a naughty schoolgirl, that was brilliant. Just a word on... No, not a word on men's fall. Let's watch Petra nailed that move across.
Absolutely nailed it. There we go, then Petra, this will put her in a fantastic position, silver medal potentially.
I get the impression, Mike, from being right down here, she almost surprised to get that. She hadn't thought about how she's now going to do this top move. So let's have a look. She's going to go left foot lower. Not going to use the right foot really, or yes she is, okay. It looks a hard position to launch from, but we shall see. No, she's going to go with Petra, make your mind up.
The crowd's got a slow clap going behind us. Oh no.
Yeah, that was a commentator's nightmare. Yeah, she couldn't quite decide whether to put that right foot onto the middle bolt on.
Just as we see then, Kokoro Fuji.
Mike, you're going to have to believe me, I was about to say, I think Kokoro will get on with this boulder. You should believe me, millions wouldn't.
Absolutely, Kokoro Fuji just drops it, but the bonus will put him in a good position.
Yeah,
so tight.
I think that's a boulder Kokoro can really get on with, and I promise I was going to say that before he had that really good attempt, I promise. So let's have a look at Petra here. So she got this move, no problem first time round, and gets it no problem second time round. Interesting technique, kind of leaves the left hand behind with the palm on the wall, and she'll reset and go again. She just couldn't decide what to do with her feet. I think the technique that time seemed to be, as soon as you get there, get your left foot up and just go for it and don't think too much. It seems like a boulder you can overthink, possibly something Petra was guilty of on her first attempt.
I'll check with Martin, the route setter here, what the intended method here. Petra is going really fast with the feet. Is it better to stand up slowly, do you think, or go fast?
Yeah, you stand up slowly, and when your second feet is on, you go fast.
Then you go. Okay, yeah. It's easy for us to say sitting here, but come on, Petra Klinger. Everybody in the arena is behind her. Great close-up of how bad those holds are. She's actually got to get her foot right underneath her hand. That's the method now. Oh.
Just wait for it if she gets this move, Mike. The crowd know it's close, they can sense it, but she just can't quite figure out what to do with those feet. It's the same thing every time. That move to the right across the run at the start, she's got absolutely dialed.
Just from the cut to Kokoro Fuji's once again at the top end of this boulder. Oh!
Just to remind you, of course, there is some black tape on the left-hand side of that boulder, so that top wouldn't have counted even if he had latched it with both hands, because his left foot, I believe it was, kicked the wall to the left. So part of that move up to the top hold on the men's 4 is to control the swing enough that you don't kick the wall, which Kokoro did. So that attempt wouldn't have been successful even if he got the top with both hands.
Absolutely, and as Eddie was saying earlier, men's tour definitely very hard here tonight. But all eyes back to Petra Klinger this time. Petra, come on. I think she's just so excited to be competing at home. She's just, she's losing the feet and just going for it. She's giving it absolutely 110%. Oh, Kokoro once again putting on a show for us on this bottom move. Oh. It was just out of shot there. You can just see Kokoro Fuji rolling off the mat, but he has 21 seconds left here. Everybody's behind her with 15 seconds left for these climbers. In theory, Petra could do it in time. Oh!
Mike, I'm sure you can hear the reaction here with both climbers so close. Unbelievable atmosphere down here by the wall. Petra not quite successful that time, but she's just walking off. Looks pretty happy with her evening's work, which, considering she was wearing a knee brace 2 weeks ago, she certainly deserves to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely, and unfortunately that means Petra won't be on the podium tonight, which is a shame for the locals, but she's put on a really good show and she's got to be happy with that as her first World Cup. Time will tell how that affects her later on in the season.
Here comes Janja and Yene again. They were just having a little chat as they left isolation. Both looking for a final top. Neither of them got on with the boulders as well as they might have tonight, but a top would certainly be a nice way to finish.
Yeah, Janja can actually really rocket up the leaderboard from 6th, I believe, to 3rd. I'm going to have to check the maths. There's a lot of maths going on here at once, as well as commentating. So,
Mike, I'll let you do the maths. I'll keep an eye on what's going on as we see Janja. Because she's been in the wars tonight, Janja. The women's 3, she slipped off, nearly knocked her teeth out. And, on women's 4 this time, that initial move nearly cracked her knee, but missed both times, 2 narrow misses. As we watch Yene, who needs your feet when you're that powerful, he's just trying to figure out how to use this volume. It's a terrible hole really in all directions, and it's not immediately obvious what the best way to grab it is, but that certainly looks pretty promising from Yene. Now he's got to go left, but also control his feet and not kick the wall to the left, so not just a case of throw yourself at it, you've got to throw yourself at it under control.
Just coming back to Janja's attempts, and unfortunately she has already had too many attempts to get onto the podium, but if she does it on the next go, she'll be fighting for 1 place up, I believe, 5th place. So she could knock Petra down to bottom place, but we'll see. If she sticks it, we'll see what happens here with Janja Garnbret. Can she wake her way up the slab? Saw that it's all about the right foot, so come on, Janja.
A mid-route clean of the shoe there, very delicately done from Janja there. She kind of skipped across, and I think she's enjoying herself now. Just trying to figure this move out. This is exactly the position Petra found herself in. You use the right foot, you leave it low and just go. And much like Petra, she's having plenty of time to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to see Janja get a top here, and that would put her into a really good position moving on to the rest of the season. But realistically, this is not going to affect the result. Obviously, we already know Shauna's dominated this competition, but as we saw from Petra there, they're really going for the sort of pedal on the feet, running up the slab. But we see that's possibly not the best method. But it's hard when the crowd's shouting at you to go for it. It's hard to control yourself, I think. We'll see.
It's an interesting thing you said earlier, Mike. Janja is used to winning. Be really something to keep an eye on in this Boulder World Cup season. If it doesn't go her way, how it affects her, because we've never really seen her. We've seen the odd bad day at the office for her, but we've never really seen her do anything apart from dominate last year. So it could be one of the aspects to keep an eye on as this season goes. If the Boulder season doesn't go as she hopes it might, how will it affect her performance?
Great fight here from Jone Kruder, who's up to the last move, but Martin, I'm going to have to ask you, what's the method up there? They have this right-hand volume, but the finish hold's so far away.
Yeah, Kokoro actually did it right, but I don't know what happened, why he didn't finish the problem.
So it is literally, there's a black hexagon there, volume, but you ignore it and you just fire out.
You have to have your left foot in the hole.
Yeah.
And then
and just
you
fly.
go slowly. No, you go slowly, very far.
Okay, we'll see. So Janja's got 30 seconds left. She can get this done in theory, enough time. She's really enjoying herself out there now. She knows Shauna's already won most likely, but she's foot's on. This looks really good. Oh, just as I say that, her foot goes. That's a real shame. She was looking really solid there, and she's realistically, it's probably the end of the competition for her, running out of time. Oh, Jone's trying a whole new method here, Martin. This is exciting. Don't know where he's going to go from here, but we'll see.
I was about to say there, Mike, yeah, keep an eye on Jone. He looked like he was going to go direct to the top hold via those black honeycomb holds. Didn't work out, but nice to see him trying to think of a new method. And he walked off the stage now, sort of shaking his head, arms open, as if to say, I still don't know what you should have done there. Next out, we've got David, and Shauna will be back out. And I said she looked increasingly happy on women's three. She'll be pretty delighted now. I'm pretty sure she'll know she's done enough. It's been the perfect start to the season, and a bit like Petra, an amazing comeback from what turned out to be quite a serious shoulder injury. Initially, it didn't seem as if it'd be quite as bad as it was, but it's affected her certainly for the remainder of 2016, after the middle of August when we were in Munich, and even early into this year. So to come back and look this strong is an amazing effort. And it shows just what a talent she is. You get through a shoulder injury, such a key part of the body for climbers, but especially boulders, where there's so much power going through it. To come back like she has done has been really impressive. It's been amazing to watch her today.
Absolutely, Charlie. And just before we carry on with the next pair, just want to reflect a little bit on the men's competition. Obviously, you know, the women's is already done, and Shauna's coming out just to take the applause pretty much. But the men's competition, David Fierenberg here, who's currently sitting in 6th, could put himself up to 2nd, I believe, with a quick top. Apologies if my maths is not quite quick enough here. The scoring system is a little bit delayed. So, yeah, David Fierenberg, we've only seen 3 tops in the men's competition tonight, Martin. As the route said, quite a low number of tops so far in the men's.
Yeah, it was supposed to be more tops there.
Well, it's definitely not an easy game. We'll see, but David Fierenberg could put himself onto the podium here with a top. If a top within 3 goes, he's onto the podium. Well, just correct myself there. It actually has to be a top in 2 goes, looking at bonuses. So with such a low scoring round, bonuses are really going to count. But to be honest, we've not really seen much action on men's 4 in terms of someone looking like they're going to get too close to the top. Kokoro Fuji also did really well, but Shauna. Maybe she knows she won already. Maybe she doesn't, but she's gonna. She's a competitor at heart, and she wants to go out there and just finish it off in style.
For sure.
So Shauna won here last year. She obviously likes it here in Switzerland. She wins once again. Back-to-back victories for Shauna Coxsey. Number 1 seems to be pretty much the only position Shauna knows.
Watching Shauna down here, she actually fluffed the move right initially and almost stuck it despite slipping midway through it. She seems to be in the kind of form where she can't miss. She didn't look at all comfortable on the move, but almost made it anyway. And the second time, just danced across. Janja did it very delicately and skillfully, but Shauna certainly matched the style levels on it. It was superb to watch, and I back my prediction that we could see a a top from Shauna here on women's 4.
Yeah, I think the crowd would love to see that. See a top would be a super cool way to finish. As we turn our attention to David Fierenberg, who's running out of attempts here to make a lot of damage on the leaderboard, but come on David. Yeah, it just goes down to that volume on it was currently in women's number 1. It's really helping him out so far, getting a bit of weight off the hands and onto the feet. Come on, David. Local MC getting the local German supporters up on their feet and behind David. Great competition for him. To make finals is super cool. So Shauna with 1 minute 40 just under left.
There was a big shout from David there as he came down, so try telling him that this is a dead rubber. He really wants his top. He looked distinctly unhappy when he came down.
Just interrupting there, Charlie. Shauna Coxsey draws a line onto this competition in absolutely amazing fashion. The first top we've seen in women's 4. Absolutely nailed it. Well done, Shauna Coxsey. Fantastic competition. Well done, Team GB.
Yeah, amazing from Shauna. She forgot her little towel there in the heat of the moment. First thing she does, I think you can just see the silhouette of the two of them. Gets a big hug from Janja. Lovely spirit between the competitors, but yeah, Shauna, she's looked in complete control pretty much all weekend. But,
yeah, it's quite
amazing
funny,
top there.
I can see the rest of the competitors have already finished their climbs. They're all just sitting there together at the front of the mats. That's really cool. And they just take one look at Shauna and think, okay, time to start training.
Well, that's what you've got to beat, and I've got to say, judging by the last 18 months or so, that's a fairly daunting prospect. And yeah, she's certainly not suffering any dip of form, quite the opposite. David's got 22 seconds here. I don't think it's enough time, but certainly won't stop him trying. You know, he really needed to stick that, but hey, he might as well have another go. Not sure what he can do with 12 seconds, but if he does top it, it'd be the most spectacular top of the day, I think. No, not quite. Frustrated, David.
They put on a good show, and Charlie, I'm just having an opportunity in the break between climbers to have a look at the scores, and second and third place still up for grabs. Currently it's Katazawa, who has finished their competition, so 2 tops in 6 attempts. 3 bonuses in 13 is what they're up against. Miho still to come, and Stasha still to come. Miho currently 1 top in 2. As you can see on your screen there, that's actually the men's. You can see how tough it's been out there for the men. Just going back to the women's end, Stasha actually can get, if she can get this quite quickly, she's in with a great shout of pushing herself up the leaderboard, currently in 4th position.
On the men's 4 here, if Alexei Rubtsov tops, he wins the competition because he's the only climber who could end this competition, this men's final, with 2 tops. So far, he, Kokoro Fuji and Keita Watabe have a top each. But Keita and Kokoro have already had their goes on men's 4, so if Alexei can top, he'll finish with 2 tops, and that'll be enough to win the competition. Attempts irrelevant for Alexei when it comes to the win. A top wins the competition for him. We may have a repeat of last year's winners, Alexei and Shauna.
Great moment there from Stasha. This first attempt is actually really important for her. Could push herself up the leaderboard, as we said earlier here. Still is on for a shout for silver medal here, so just blew it there again. Not using the feet. She's really trying to kind of jump their way up the slab, but the finish hole's just too far away for that. But like you said, Charlie, Alexei is definitely in for a shout here for the win. That'd be really cool if you can take back-to-back victory, same as Shauna did here in Meiringen.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, a top wins it for him, whether he knows that or not. I seem to be getting predictions right a bit more often tonight, and I'm going to say I think this is a boulder he can get on with. He's getting very, very frustrated. There's a big shout from him there. But I think this is the boulder he can top, and he probably knows it.
Yeah, if anybody can do it, it's Alexei. He's so strong already today, and his top earlier on was so impressive. Come on, Alexei Rubtsov.
It's really frustrating almost to watch him, that move as he catches with the left hand. It looks to me he just needs to get it a bit higher, which obviously is easier said than done because you're coming at it sideways. But I think if he can get higher up in the hole, it's much more positive. He's the width of his index finger away, I think, from where he needs to be in that hole on the move right, Alexei. So keep an eye on that.
Yep, and we're certainly keeping an eye on that. We're keeping an eye on Stasha here at the moment. She's had quite a few goes, and she's preferring the kind of quick feet method at the moment. Just as you can see in the background, Alexei sticks that move, so we'll cut back to that as soon as we can. There we are, Alexei Rubtsov. Can he win the competition right here?
Mike, I was about to say Alexei's just setting himself. But that time, I was just saying about how he needed to get a bit higher on the hole. He did it, and the move, I wouldn't say it looked easy, but certainly looked very doable once he got that the higher part of the hole. So really keep an eye on Alexei. He's climbing for the win here, and I think he's sussed out the move that was stopping him, and now he just needs to get that move left. Stasha, meanwhile, they've got deja vu. We've seen this from a few climbers. This is a new method from Stasha, the right foot higher. Goes to show that's obviously quite a good side pull she's got with the right hand, because even with a double foot slip, she stayed on the wall. Just trying to figure it out. We don't know where to look here. We've got two climbers going for the top, particularly Alexei Rubtsov, just trying to figure out what to do with his feet.
A great moment also there from Stasha, just so close, had the finish hold in her hands as we look back at a really good effort from the young Russian.
Yeah, I think Alexei needs to keep his head here. I think he'll have time for one more attempt. 20 seconds to go. It's going to have to be a quick attempt as well. Here he goes, he'll go on the second swing. He's got that move dialed now.
He's really fighting to the death here, Alexei Rubtsov. He knows he needs this to win. Come on, Alexei. Oh, no, it just wasn't meant to be. A fantastic fight all the way there. And a great fight also from Stasha. They are out of time, and that ends the competition for these pair, and they put on a fantastic show.
They did. That was highlights of the show so far there, Mike. Crowd really enjoying that. We had two getting closer and closer and closer to tops right at the business end of the competition. And from seemingly nowhere, we're almost at the end of the competition. Miho and Ray out next.
Okay, so you can see the women's results there. Men's results is a lot more interesting, because in theory, Ray Sugimoto, the last climber out, I do believe if he gets this done in a couple of attempts, he can actually win the competition here still. So Ray Sugimoto can go from 4th to 1st, we believe. So time will tell, and these results are provisional, but Ray Sugimoto can really nail it. The last climber out in the men's could take it away. That would have to be a flash, so yeah. That was his first go? Game over.
Yeah, that was his first go, and I was about to say, we talked earlier about the scoring system and the tiering, but yeah, had he flashed it, he would have won by virtue of bonus attempts, which is kind of the fourth way of splitting the climbers. It's the last way of splitting them, if you like. So just goes to show what we were talking about earlier, the system split the climbers. Had Ray flashed his boulder, it would have come down to bonus attempts, so that's why we have so many measurements of performance.
Absolutely, and I apologise, guys, for not seeing that quicker. I had my head in the scorebook at the time. Oh, just as we see Miho flying for that last hold. Miho can actually do quite well here. So obviously she's already in 3rd. She's running out of attempts to move up. It's getting close for Miho to whether she can make it into 2nd place or not.
Yeah, according to my scores, Mike, Katja Zalvine, who's currently ahead of Miho, has 2 tops in 6 attempts. Miho's got 1 top in 2 attempts, so if she wants to move up from 3rd to 2nd, she's going to need to use her attempts very wisely on this slab. And that shouldn't be too difficult, because we've seen a lot of climbers get to the, as I say that as she slips off, but we've seen a lot of climbers get onto the right-hand side of the boulder where the orange bolt-ons are, and then have ages to think about it. So it is a boulder that doesn't seem to have burned up too many attempts for most climbers. As we see, Miho getting over to the right now. She needs to take her time and suss out how to use her feet, and I think we're going to be back where we've been with quite a few climbers, which is the foot dance, figuring out what to do with them.
Come on, Ray.
So here we go then. Miho Nanaka just slips off the slab, as we see in the background. There we are, Ray Sugimoto looking quite solid up here at the moment. We'd love to see a top on men's number 4. Come on, Ray. Come on, do it for the crowd, Ray. Come on.
That right hand hold that Ray's on is absolutely awful, Mike. I'm sitting right underneath it. Ray's about 2 meters from me. It's a hold, although it's an enormous volume, it's a hold in the loosest sense of the word. It's terrible. It stops Alexei, he just couldn't figure out how to move off it. A classic, getting there is one thing, moving is another hold.
So we'll see then this final pair. Both Japanese climbers have done really well tonight. Just moving the camera along there, you can see just on the volume, it's barely even visible. There's a tiny bit of hold on that. Really, it's so small, you can't even see it with the camera zoomed in. So that's what the climber's against, a barely visible hold. Oh, Miho so close there. Miho trying to take the competition out in style with a second top. Here we go then. Ray Sakamoto, can he finish it?
That hold that Ray is on is tiny. We just saw it close up, and I think he's going to nail this boulder. Control the swing though, Ray.
Yes. Well done, Ray Sakamoto. Takes the competition out in style. What a guy. What a show from Ray Sakamoto. Fantastic effort. It doesn't affect the overall position so much, but sometimes topping the boulders is as good as a podium.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Mike. Unfortunately, he used up too many attempts. It won't affect his overall score. He was in his overall ranking. Sorry, he was in 4th place anyway. What a nice way to finish. It's always good to leave at the top. Completely changes the mindset going into World Cups coming up.
Okay, just want to quickly say a huge thanks to Martin Schalbeck for joining us. Well done this weekend. We're going to go through to the results. We'll see you again at another World Thank you, Martin.
No problem, thank you.
Just as we have a look then at the results, Shauna Coxsey dominates the night, 4 tops in 10 attempts. Katerina Zawa in 2 tops in 6 attempts. Miho Tanaka takes 3rd, 1 top in 2. Stasha Geho behind her. Great performance, 1 top in 3. Petra Klinger also 1 top in 3, but bonuses was what it came down to. Janja Garnbrit goes out the night, 0 tops, but a great show. Well done to Janja, and the ladies tonight was fantastic. Shauna, the only climber to top women's number 1 and women's number 4. So Shauna, could argue, dominated the night, but it was a really close event. You know, it's not as simple as it looks sometimes in a scoring system. So well done, Shauna. Fantastic result, and well done to Katasana and Miho. They'll be really, really pleased with those results. Have we have a look at the men's then? It came down to the flash on men's number 3 for Vakoro Fuji to take another victory for the Japanese. Alexei Rupov, super strong, but only 1 top in 2 attempts was enough to get him 2nd place. Keita Watabe, a fantastic top. The only guy to top men's number 2 was enough to secure him 3rd position, but a super close final tonight. Men's category, realistically, very, very few tops, an incredibly difficult final. So hard.
And I'm back up in the commentary box with Mike, and confirm there, Kankura Fuji, 1 top, enough to win it here. That graphic below, just showing Alexei Rubtsov with no tops on the graphic, but the score to the right is correct, if not the graphic. So Alexei Rubtsov did have a top. He was in 2nd place. Keita Watabe took 3rd, 4th for Rei Sugimoto. Good day for Japan. Yane Kruder and David Fernenberg, 5th and 6th.
Yeah, Charlie, it was a fantastic show tonight, really. Obviously, the men's competition was particularly difficult, but it didn't seem to slow the crowd down, didn't seem to take away from their enjoyment. It was a brilliant competition through and through, all the way from Friday morning all the way through to here Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, desperate problems tonight. It was fantastic to be down the front. If you ever do go to a World Cup, get there early, because when you're close up, you really do get a new level of detail. But yeah, that men's 4 was a bit of a heartbreaker until we saw Rei Sugimoto top it. I mean, the hold you were talking about on that top volume, honestly, it looked like the route setters had a piece of bubble gum and just left it on there and forgotten all about it. It was so small. It was you could see the climbers were getting a tiny bit out of it on the thumb.
Yep.
But basically no more.
I think it was pretty cool how Ray went out in style and topped that, and a great moment for the crowd and a great moment for the route setters. You know, it's nothing worse than pouring so much effort into a boulder and then to not get a top on it is really sad. And obviously we have seen that with men's one. It's such a hard game out there.
It is, and we talked about it on the live stream, and I can confirm it's equally hot now. The temperature increase, even from the semi-finals, let alone when the route setters set in an empty tennis hall a few days ago, is unbelievable. As I think it was Eddie said, it must be 24, 25 degrees in here, and I think that really had an effect tonight. Volume-based climbing and low percentage moves really not suited to the heat, and unfortunately I think the route setters just set in completely different conditions to what we encountered in the final.
And we get a chance now to have a look at that, hopefully, just a few little clips of what went down. And here we go in men's number 4, an awesome way to finish, fantastic end to a great show here in Switzerland. I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. It was fantastic to hear from you, and this is the moment that Rei Sugimoto finished number 4, and like I said, it didn't affect his position in the end really, but you know, what a moment.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm completely neutral in terms of result, but it would have been pretty special if Alexei Rubtsov could have nailed that move, because that would have won in the competition, and there's no finer way to win than with the top. But unfortunately it wasn't Alexei's day, but he takes second place, I believe. I don't have my results in front of me. Second place, I think. We'll confirm for you. Yeah, it was second.
Yeah, second place, one top in 2 attempts for Alexei, so yeah, he'll be happy with that. But looking at the women's result then, I mean, Shauna Coxsey tonight, it was a one-girl show out there, really.
It was really interesting watching Shauna climb, actually. She came out, she looked really relaxed. I think she knew the shoulder either wasn't troubling her or she was just learning to live with it, and it wasn't affecting her performance. She might have been able to feel it, you certainly couldn't tell. Came out for the first boulder looking super relaxed, not a care in the world, no problem. Ditto the second boulder. By the time she got to the third, she walked out, massive grin on her face, said hi to the judge, made a mistake, lost an attempt, still smiling. Like the fourth one, I think she was having more fun than anyone in the hall. Amazing performance and a huge statement, because I think a few people might have, whilst you don't wish injury on anyone, I think a few people might have been thinking, well, she's got a bad shoulder, maybe this is my chance. She's certainly answered any questions about whether the shoulder's affecting her performance.
Yeah, and absolutely, in one of the boulders that she dominated, really. I mean, obviously we saw a few taps on this, but the way she did it, skipping the bonus and just jumping to the hold. You mentioned, you had a chat with Lauren Laporte down at the wall just as this happened, this moment, and it was really cool.
Yeah, there we go, straight up.
Yeah, an awesome effort. Well done, Shauna. I mean, just the power you can see here. And what's interesting with Shauna this year is obviously she's moved on to a new coach, and she's had to work with a new background team, and that's really impressive how she's just come along. She's obviously doing really well. She obviously feels comfortable psychologically. She's doing really well, and just, yeah, I was really impressed with her. But it's not to mention some of the other girls. Katazawa in second place, 2 tops in 6 attempts for her. So that's a great result for Katazawa in there as well.
Yeah, she's been doing this for a long time. She's been competing, she's been climbing outdoors, she's been doing every sort of rock climbing you can think of for a long, long time, and still at the very, very highest level. And superb performance from her. I think a lot of neutrals will have been really pleased to see her high up again. But one of the really interesting points I have to say from the women's final, Janja Garnbret, she's made a big statement that she wants to do well in the bouldering this year.
Yep.
And she didn't do as well as perhaps she would have hoped, and as you said quite rightly in the commentary, she is used to winning.
Yeah, I wonder if that's, psychologically, if she can rebound from this. Does she have enough life experience to be able to just step it back up next time? We're going to China after this, and can she just rebuild and just kind of psychologically deal with that? I mean, also this team Slovenia is super strong, and they've got a lot of coaching, a lot of management there. What do you think? Do you think she can bounce back from this?
Well, it's going to be one of the things we're really looking forward to in China, because in the lead competitions it was Janja that was doing the dominating. Just when we saw it with Anna Verhoeven, Anna always looked like she could nearly win, and then Janja would just rain on the parade at the last minute. And this time it's Janja who's being trampled down, it would seem. Didn't make the podium tonight, still made a final, keeps up her run of always making World Cup finals in senior level. But yeah, that's certainly something I'm really looking forward to, because something we didn't really see last year in the lead, which was the only discipline where she did all the World Cups. Something we didn't see was her really being put under the cosh and not having not having things her way.
Absolutely, there's a great replay there of Alexei Rupsov. That was one of only two climbers to top that third boulder, and you know the route setters had that pegged as a savagely difficult boulder, and for Kokura, Fuji and Alexei the only ones to top it. It kind of makes sense that they were first and second respectively.
Yeah, it does. That boulder, as Manu mentioned it during our run through the boulders, not especially hard to read, but desperately physical. The cross move, I can't get my hands wide enough on the screen here, but the cross move, even people as tall as Kokura were almost at full reach on terrible holes. Incredibly physical boulder. It looked absolutely exhausting. And men's 4 was also steep. They climbed in qualification yesterday, they climbed in semi-finals this morning, and I think having a boulder like that up third may have affected the number of tops we actually got on boulder 4.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to keep saying, I say it so many times already tonight, just a huge thanks to the organisers for putting on a brilliant event. You know, last time I was with you guys was in Paris, and for me this is getting really close to us. You know, obviously the size is slightly different, but there's just a great job by everybody, like so many kids involved and everything, and just the whole spirit here has been really great.
Yeah, if you didn't watch us from the start today, go back and have a look at the top of the broadcast. We had a short video with two of our organisers, Christian and Nils. Fascinating insight into what goes into a World Cup. A lot of money, first of all, but also a huge amount of hours, mainly voluntary on the part of the organisers. And we had over 100 volunteers here, as well as the media team, the route setters and the climbers and everyone else. It's incredible how much goes into organising these events. And Meiringen has pulled out all the stops and put on a great show to start off the IFSC season 2017. And I believe we're about ready to head to the podium ceremony, which will commence with either the world's biggest pipe. We are in Sherlock Holmes territory, of course, Meiringen, where he had his fight to the death with Professor Moriarty, as we mentioned earlier, or a Swiss horn, I suspect the latter. Just to let you know, if you've disappeared off to make a cup of tea and you're just coming back and wondering why the climbers have been replaced by two Swiss horn players, we just have a performance before the podium ceremony begins, which we're going to listen to, and then we'll see the medals be awarded. We believe the podium ceremony coming up very shortly, just after the Swiss horns have done their thing. So the podium ceremony about to get underway. We've had the formalities. They look like they've got another tune in them. Players one we know.
Will be presented by Shauna. She is European champion in ice skating. Shauna, Europameisterin in Eastbourne. Wirklich nach vorne. Sie präsentiert Medaille.
Kids and flowers are handed over by Marcus Weber as a non-governmental
So we're getting very close to the podium presentation. There's the crowd all sticking around here just as the final results go in. Obviously there is the potential for technical situations between the judges and the climbers to be resolved before the final result can be given. I do believe we are very, very close.
I see home players on standby as things stand. Podium's up, it's on the right hand side of the stage, you might be able to see it in the dark there. And here they come. So the athletes will be accompanied by some helpers in traditional Swiss dress. We've got the Swiss mountain guide on the left, there he is.
It's really cool how it's just such a community event here. Like everybody from the local town, obviously there's not that many of them, there's only 5,000, so many of them get involved. And everybody's a climber and it's just the perfect spot for a climbing competition.
Yeah, it's one of the few towns where sport climbing routes outnumber inhabitants, which is my sort of town. So here they come. Slight choreography issues, David Fernenberg. Apart from men's 4, he's climbed with a smile on his face. There we go.
So 5th place, Jone Kruder, a great show, did well to get through to the finals. He'll be very happy to once again make a finals. 4th place, Ray Sugimoto. Fantastic show for us tonight. 1 top in 5 attempts was great, and just to top that final boulder was really cool. We saw a brilliant replay there. Moving on to the first step on the podium, 3rd place. I do think what they're suggesting is that the finalists, the top 3, may be brought through from the crowd, but we'll see.
Yes, this is what we're told, that the top 3 will walk through the crowd from the back of the arena under a spotlight. And the spotlight operator's standing right next to us, no pressure.
I feel like some Rocky Balboa music would be good right now.
Yeah, so it's a bit like a boxing entrance to the ring. It's great when organisers do something new like this. The crowd get a close-up look at their podium-placed climbers. And there they are, yep, being brought to the stage under the spotlight. And just to recap, Kokoro Fuji won here today. Great start for him, 2nd place overall in the World Cups last year. And considering that the man who won overall last year, Tomohiro Narasaki, was down in 21st, Kokoro has had a pretty ideal start to his campaign to move 1 place up in the overall standings.
A really nice touch there from the organisers. Top 3 can high-five everybody on their way through the crowd. That's really cool, and it's just another way of engaging the climbers with the community, and yeah, it's just a really nice touch.
So the home players resume. We'll shortly see Keita Watabe taking his place on the podium in 3rd place. There he is, 3rd place today. 1 top, enough to get him onto the podium. 1 top was enough to win. Came down to attempts. We had 4 climbers with a top in the men's final. They were our 3 podium place climbers: Kokoro Fuji, Alexei Rubtsov, Keita Watabe, and also Ray Sugimoto.
Yeah, his top on the slab, men's number 2, which got him that position on the podium, was absolutely awesome.
So let's see, the organisers often come out with some quite interesting gifts. Let's see if we can get a close-up of that. What's he receiving here?
I reckon that's some melted Swiss cheese. That seems to be pretty popular around here.
We'll have to find out later. We'll put it on the IFSC Facebook. What are they getting? I think it's a small cairn of rocks. I did think it was a garden gnome initially.
It's a nice handsome check there, will go a long way there. You see the value, fantastic to go towards the Japanese team's budget. It's a great work there from Keita Watabe, well done, third place.
And Keita Watabe might have something to say about it going to Team Japan. Let's see who walks out of the hall with it at the end.
Well, we know who's buying the beers tonight.
That's Alexei Rubtsov. It was amazing to watch him on men's 4. That thumb press on that second to last volume, which you guys got a really good close-up of. If he could have just stuck that, he might have been 1 metre further left. But doesn't quite retain his Meiringen World Cup crown, but second place, a pretty handy start to the season for last place, third overall.
Yeah, absolutely. To get onto a World Cup podium, wherever the position, to be honest, obviously first is amazing, but anywhere on the podium is just an incredible standard of climbing. Alexei Rubtsov once again showing why he's such a dominant climber, second place.
Gold medalist of the IFSC World Cup Meiringen 2017, representing Japan.
And the winner then, representing Japan, Kokura Fuji, fantastic competition once again. That man is psyched.
Yeah, he crushed that men's 3. The boulder that looked so difficult for everyone else, he cruised up it, never looked in doubt. And his first win in a Boulder World Cup since Vale last year.
Yeah, so the perfect start then for Kokura Fuji, and like you say, Charlie, just the way he dominated that boulder, men's number 3, it was mind-blowing, really. It was just so strong. I'm not sure what it was about that boulder, if it just suited him perfectly, or he just switched another gear and thought, okay, let's get this done.
I think a combination of the two. As soon as he walked out, he looked as if he was thinking, oh yeah, I'll have this. And he duly did, and there he goes, raises his trophy.
There we have it then, the men's presentation. Smiles all round, apart from Alexei, obviously he's still in the competition mode. Yeah, he'll relax tonight probably, and yeah, second place for Alexei, obviously maybe is disappointing, I don't know.
We'll hear the Japanese national anthem. Het gezicht voor de gewinner. There you have it, your podium here. Keita Watabe, Alexei Rubtsov, Kokura Fuji, and now we will repeat the process for the female athletes. And they're led off stage by the mountain guide. Alexei Rubtsov, just as he disappeared off stage there, just kind of rolling his shoulder. Hope there's not an injury there, we'll see. It was the right shoulder which was putting a fair bit of force through that on men's 4. I hope we'll try and find out. I don't think there was an injury, but just noticed as he disappeared off there, a quick roll of it.
Yeah, I think the route setters have given the climbers an extremely physical challenge throughout the weekend, really. A lot of dynamic moves, a lot of swinging on one arm with these cheetah pockets that have been set here. One of the sponsors is, there isn't two ways of holding on to them, really, so a lot of jumping, a lot of releasing toe hooks and flying around. So yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys at home, but I would be absolutely wrecked if I tried any of these boulders. So to go for a whole weekend of world-class boulders is really impressive to come out in one piece.
Just as we wait for the female climbers to come out and receive their various checks and awards and to hear the anthems, We had a question earlier on from Marku Lane on Twitter. I believe it's on Twitter. Apologies. On social media. He wants to know, is it an advantage or disadvantage to start later in the finals?
I would say, you know, you can look back at the statistics and you can find those online, but traditionally I would say most people say coming out last is a disadvantage. It always depends on the competitors and the conditions, but I think some people like to come out early, get rid of those nerves nice and quick and put on a score on the board. There's no pressure. So I would say, you know, coming out early is an advantage, but it totally depends on the individuals.
There's Janja Garnbrett. Not a position she's used to being in. Used to being not only on the podium but on top of it, but she was 6th in today's final. The only female climber to finish without a top, incredibly close on a couple. She's had plenty of glory days before, and I suspect she'll have a few more in the future. And so Petra Klingler as well, world champion, of course, back in Paris. And Stasha joins them in 4th place. Stasha feeling a bit self-conscious about her height there. And as with the men, the top 3 place women will come in under the spotlight, quite literally.
The local MC gets everybody to turn themselves to the back of the room as the top 3 women make their way through the crowd. And as we said before, this is a really cool moment. Haven't seen that too many times at World Cup before. The applause goes up for the guys, the music goes on.
Spotlight operator earning their money next to us. Of course, your top 3 will be Miho Nanaka in 3rd, Katja Zauwein in 2nd, and the woman that you might be able to make out the distinctive form of Shauna Coxsey, 1st place. Topped all the boulders, never really looked in doubt from midway through this final, and she clinched it on the 3rd boulder.
Yeah, she was the only climber to top the 1st boulder, and from that point onwards, she was you know, there's always a chance of a slip up, but Shauna Coxsey very rarely happens, and she just dominated from that point onwards. The only climber to top number 4. Obviously, she's already secured it by then, so a fantastic result. And what fantastic music they got here, Charlie. Really good atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the atmosphere. The music is it's an acquired taste, Mike.
Bit Clint Eastwood there.
I wouldn't mind checking your iPod. I'm interested what you've got on there now. Very dramatic here in Switzerland. It's a good atmosphere. Great to see so many of the crowd stand behind as well. We've got pretty much a full house here in Meiringen to watch the podium ceremonies. There's Miho. She was 2nd overall last year. Previous World Cup winner. She looks pretty happy with her result today, but you suspect on the long flight back to Japan, she might be wondering, is it going to be another year of standing next to Shauna Coxsey as Shauna takes gold medal after gold medal? Time will yet tell, but perhaps not the start Miho would have wanted. But she looks pretty happy with 3rd place.
Yeah, I would say the way that she looked in the semi-final, she looked really, really strong. And, you know, she did qualify in the top spot, so to go with 3rd place, you know, it is a step down in theory in terms of the result, but she looked really, really solid in semi-final. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a one-horse race this year.
She's got too many things to hold, Miho. Just a few choreography problems. There we go.
Massive pile of rocks to hold just as your arms are completely wrecked.
There we go. Still got the strength to raise an arm. Yeah, I think Miho's not too unhappy with the bronze medal. I think there'll be 2 very happy climbers about to take their place on the podium now, though.
Silver medalist of the IFSC World Cup Meiringen 2017, representing Austria,
There we go, Katja Zauwein, 2nd place today. Climbed really, really well. After not topping Boulder 1, after Shauna did, she was always fighting to catch up and never quite got there. But for me, clearly the 2nd best climber in today's final, and well-deserved silver medal.
And the way that she really crushed women's too was really impressive, and that, you know, obviously putting her to a great position. You know, climbing boulders 2 and 3 in 6 attempts in total was great, and you know, she just absolutely flew up women's too, so she's definitely got strength, so she's definitely one to watch out for. I think it's a great start for her, and being such a seasoned competitor, you know, it'd be great to see if she can have another really good season.
Applause there for Katja's Arvine. The only person that hasn't yet taken their place, Shauna Coxsey.
Of the IFSC World Cup Meiringen 2017, representing Great Britain, Shauna Coxsey.
She won in 2016, she wins in 2017. Shauna Coxsey, the Queen of Meiringen once again.
Yeah, you can obviously tell she knows she's strong, she knows she's good, she knows in good form, but it still means a lot to her to take away the gold medal. So well deserved. 4 tops in 10 attempts, the only climber to get 4, the only timer to get 3. So yeah, a great performance tonight from Shauna.
She looks a bit emotional, Shaun. It's, as we mentioned, it's been a hard winter for her coming back from injury, so certainly hasn't slowed her down.
And she's been very careful about her preparation coming back, you know, missed certain competitions pre-season just so that she can be perfectly in tune and ready for this first event. So obviously the coaches have done really well, and she's got the right mentality. Well, you know, well done all round.
One of the hardest things to do is to know when to rest. You always feel like you should be doing more rather than less, and it looks like she's got the balance absolutely right, as you say. So let's hear the British national anthem. Shauna invites Katja and Miho onto the podium with her. And that's the photo all the photographers have been waiting for. A very welcome sight to Shauna's legion of fans. So Meiringen has got the season off to a flying start. Up next we go to Asia for 3 back-to-back Boulder World Cups and 2 Speed World Cups. A busy time coming up at the IFSC. We hope you can join us for those shows. Thank you very much for watching.